Welcome in and we are ready to go for some Blue Otter Diamond League here in the final week of the regular season for our matchup between Akuma KTX as your Dragon high-speed bullet train against To The Moon Umbriel. I'm Isaac, alongside me is Rue for this one. We've already gotten straight into it, Rue. So before we quickly get into draft or start covering it, there's been very big elephant in the room considering this series coming into it, right, Rue?
Yeah, that was a lot of words all at once.
Yeah.
I understand the haste because we are getting straight into things because the draft is there on your screens. We're doing our best. It is what it is. But we are into things. We've got Volibear Rumble and Yunara banned away by Akuma. I'm not going to bother with the rest of it. Yeah, you heard it once. That's probably going to be it for the stream. I'll be honest. Then we've got Lucian, Ari, and Senna taken away by To The Moon. Akuma taking the Ashe with the first pick. Not retaliating with the Seraphine steal away, or just denial and bans. So wouldn't be shocked if it's taken here for Akuma. Ezreal Wukong instead chosen. by To The Moon, as this is about as simple as stakes get for a game.
Yeah. Whoever wins between these two teams makes the final seed of playoffs out of the Demacia group, and whoever loses is out. It is that straightforward. And yeah, I just couldn't get more simple for this matchup this week. I mean, it's not often that in leagues like this we'll see two teams getting shown on broadcast 2 weeks in a row, but considering the circumstances of the series, it just had to be done. On the side of TTM, going to lock in a mid lane for themselves, going to be picking up the Orianna. Combination with that Wukong gives a pretty good amount of follow-up, especially once you hit level 6, Rue.
Yeah, I don't mind looking for mid here, but I feel like when you've already got Ezreal Wukong, there are some very natural picks, especially into the Seraphine as well. Karma, right? It comes to mind, even with the 2611 rotation, which was a couple of weeks ago, tapping Karma down a little bit more with the support items, kind of going away a little bit. She's still there. She's still very strong, still very powerful, and the buffs that released during this week don't really change too much for support either, right? It's a couple of changes. Zinzao's actually got a slight little nerf. We'll see if that comes into effect. His AP healing, I believe, is what's taken the real hit. Maybe we're going to see some other champs we're not quite used to. Gwen maybe comes back into things later on in the series, but for now, taking the Orianna is fine. But you giving Akuma time to ban away things they wouldn't have had to ban away otherwise, right? You give them a Karma ban for free when you could have just taken it, and I'm not sure they actually ban away the Orianna here. And even if they do, there's still plenty more mids.
Yeah, and on the Xin Shao nerf buffs, I mean, even with them, you gotta expect Xin Shao still going to be relatively strong, because obviously the Dusk and Dawn build was one that was found a little bit later, but even at that time, Xin Shao was already one of the premier junglers in the meta, so even though he's been taken down a slight notch, I don't suspect it will be too much of a harm to him on that front. Well, it will definitely hurt a little bit, but it should still be a pretty fine enough pick, because 80 bruiser junglers have been the meta for
yeah, and it is just his healing from AP ratios that's touched down, as well as mana costs, which in jungle he doesn't care about, right? Mana does not exist as a jungler, so all it is a small little tap in healing off AP ratios. So maybe he doesn't go Dusk and Dawn, maybe he just goes the old school Bruiser Zinzao, which is still very, very potent. Also interesting to point out, Orianna has taken a little tap on this change as well. Her passive now does less damage. She is less health by default, which might not always matter, but 20 less health, especially in the early game, can be the difference between getting a solo kill and being solo killed. And then ultimate's changed a little bit, but it's kind of down in early damage as well. So interesting to see To The Moon still prioring that champion, despite the nerf, not bothering with something like the Karma, instead opting into an Ezreal Braum lane.
Yeah, the Braum really good for the Seraphine, at least post level 6. It does make you think twice about throwing out the Encore when Braum can very easily just deny it by pressing E. But it does struggle a little bit early on, especially into a lane that has so much power in it with the Ashe Seraphine. So it's all about survival in the bot lane for 3 and Sparty Party. If they can get there, though, Braum definitely start to reduce the effectiveness of the Seraphine, at least with the game changing that ult can be from the Seraphine. But other really powerful champions coming through outside of Akuma, KTX, because Sion has been locked in, and I mean, we have seen some pretty disgusting things from Sion over the last year, or even just with us together on broadcast here. This champion in the top lane as a blind pick is the go-to.
Yeah, and no matter what you pick into it, even if it is something that is in theory a counter pick like the Yone, does it matter? Not really. He's still Sion. I think this Akuma draft is like as LCK as a draft gets. Maybe the mid lane's a touch off meta for that, but again, going back to the recent patch, it's actually been surprisingly impactful on this draft in particular. Syndra receiving a quite a nice buff, getting more early health, and also getting instant early damage on her Q, just plus 10 throughout the whole of the game. Bear in mind that Orianna's now less tanky as well. It feels it's like it's a 40 HP difference in this matchup. And then the Syndra also does more damage early on. And the Orianna does less. this matchup, which may have been even before, could now be very Syndra favored from the early trading phase. Obviously, it's still going to matter on like individuals and how they actually express their skill. But this could be a very different looking matchup to what maybe you're used to seeing here with a Syndra into the Orianna. And I mean, you look at that comp, what do you do? Your Yone has to be 3k gold up, otherwise this is cooked.
I mean, Yone could hit an incredible flank onto the Ashe Seraphine, and I mean that's kind of cool. But I mean, on the side of Akuma KTX, definitely just down the board, just about everything you could possibly ask for out of a draft, but also Xin Shao Syndra into Orianna Wukong earlier on as well will, just be generally more powerful, especially in the early game. The amount of setup that Xin Shao has to be able to layer on to the Syndra, and it will definitely be a cause of concern for the side of TTM Umbriel, or at the very least should be a cause for concern for them, given the circumstance that Akuma KTX have given for themselves, especially because in the bot lane as well, that should be going quite nicely for them. And you got 2 out of 3 winning lanes, and then the one that is not necessarily so much winning is a Scion, and then, I mean, the Scion doesn't really care about that, so.
Yeah, I mean, this is just such a disgustingly strong draft from Akuma. There's not much you can really do as TTM apart from, do things differently in draft. I feel like we could be looking back at this in, say 30, 40 minutes and saying this was just a draft diff. And it would be difficult to really argue otherwise. You're going to have to find an advantage through topside. That's where TTM should be looking to play this game. It's not common this year to be playing full topside, especially against Ashe Seraphine as well. You really want to be protecting your bot lane as much as possible. But you've got a Braum down there. He's going to do a lot. Maybe your Orianna can find a couple of roam timers, allow you to try and take on the Scion 1v2. But at the same time, it's a Scion. Even if he does get behind, it's not the end of the world. What matters a lot more, especially for to the Moon point of view, is getting their Yone the gold, right? The Scion not having the gold isn't the issue. It's you need your Yone to be able to kill Syndra, Xin Zhao, Ashe, and Seraphine in a fight. If he can kill the Scion as well, then that's a bonus, because Ezreal probably isn't going to do much to him either. But he is looking at like almost pentakilling from top lane in most of these team fights. With you're going to have some assistance, naturally. Glacial Fissure is going to be very useful. Shockwave with a Cyclone. You're going to have CC to help you. But the pure damage from this comp is in the Yone. And if he's put behind, it's going to be so difficult. And as such, I think both junglers could even be looking to play towards top, because putting that Yone behind is going to be diabolical.
Yeah, and at the very least, Winter is definitely a fan of his carry top laners. So if there is one person to do it to propel to the moon Umbriel to a victory here in game 1, they have spec'd fully into the hands of Winter to be able to do that. So can To the Moon Umbriel and Winter take advantage of this matchup they've given for themselves, or Akuma KTX with the predicted draft diff that we have, at least from ourselves, coming through, and they put themselves in prime position to qualify for the last position of playoffs here in Blue Otter Diamond. We'll have to wait and see after the spectator delay, which is coming up, but when we are back, we'll be on the Rift for game 1, so we'll see you in a little bit. We're back for game one between Akuma KTX and To The Moon Umbriel. And in this one, we're obviously going to be looking at Akuma KTX and, well, their composition that looks like it may have been played like, I don't know. You know what? You probably described it a lot better, Rube. I'm just going to let you do that one.
Well, I feel like these types of comps have been played so often, right? Across all regions, but this is just such an LCK comp, right? It's weak side top, and then Ashe Seraphine bot lane, Xin Zhao jungle with an enchanter, and then just pick whatever mage you want. This time around at Syndra, because of the recent changes that we were discussing during draft and as well, to be fair, during the break, and you can already see the impact. Chaotic would usually be up a lot more from these types of trades, and it's just even now with the Syndra, who is, by the way, not got a great trading rune, right? First strike into my brain's failing me. Summon Airy.
Before we get to that, stun's going to drop onto 3, and the heal and barrier already required to be used from the bot lane of TTM.
Ow. That doesn't feel good.
Yeah, that does not feel good at all, no.
A positive, potentially, is that Blush has a ghost, so the return barrier isn't quite as bad, but then you have to deal with the fact that Ashe has ghost, which is maybe not a positive later on, as Winter's trying to do some things up there in the top side as well. But I'm fascinated to see how this mid lane would play out, because as of recent times, Syndra's just not been able to take these trades with Orianna. Seeing her being able to is just very interesting, and now Midcool's just kind of taking whatever comes his way. Down a little bit in CS so far. Looks like he's just catching the wave a touch closer to his turret, but I think come later on in this game, the Syndra in the side lane is going to be such a threat that Umbriel may even be forced to match their Yone into it, and even that probably not the safest, as 3 is just getting absolutely chunked down here in bot side as well. Chief doing a really good job.
Yeah, it's kind of the expected result here, especially the Ezreal Braum not exactly the strongest in lane, so 3 will continue to struggle. Luckily, Benet should be arriving relatively soon, or could potentially alleviate the pressure if they don't end up showing mid. Obviously, both junglers doing the classic bot to top first clear, which is not bot to top, top to bot. You know what? I mean, you have eyes, you could see that, but no, the top to bot clear is something that we see very often, but already going to be forced to recall. So first crab going to be comfortably going the way of the side of Akuma KTX. Benet responds in kind, ensures he doesn't get double scuttled.
Yeah, and especially with how this bot lane's going, you just can't even think of contesting that as Pinay. Cherry, because of Xin Zhao's slower clear speed, does choose to go crab first, then down to his Krugs. Those second rotation Krugs can take a lot longer to come back. But Pinay's spotted out where he's coming from, where he's going, and it looks like he should be able to see that Gromp respawn time as well, gets the ward, so he'll know that Cherry definitely started on top side, especially with the crab that was available. He'll know this, but overall, I am a little bit surprised to not see a jungler trying to make their way towards top side. I think that Seraphine is quite a known entity, as that is awkward from Smarty Party. Yeah. That just missing his timer, I mean, he needs an extra half second to make that work, right? Bear in mind, if you do damage in the final quarter second, it still doesn't cancel the base. That needed to be way earlier if you're going to do that type of flash play. That's changed the equation, and is making a big old target now appear on his forehead.
Yeah, and especially considering how things have gone in this bottom lane. Luckily for Sparty Party, he is playing the Braum, can deny a lot of the damage with the Unbreakable, can still hop back to 3 or potentially a minion if available. But so it's not completely like doom and gloom and not the biggest target on his back ever, and paired alongside the Ezreal is still overall relatively safe if Cherry does show up in the bottom lane, but just a little bit more indicative of how the epitome really of how this bottom lane has been going so far, even if it is kind of expected.
Yeah, it is expected, but it's just it's sad to lose your flash for nothing when you could use it aggressively like you tried to, but it just didn't quite work. Can also use it defensively if it's required. Now you can't use it at all. You can still try and make a play happen here with the Wukong turning up. Level 5 does not have Cyclone.
Yeah, and it is important. The Q will not quite hit from Sparty Party, and so the Follow-up from the gank not quite going to be there. And talk about follow-up. Blush
That
going
was
to
a
be
gank.
auting away on Panay. And so Cherry is here for the counter gank 3. The
Oh,
target's a
beautiful.
double stun coming through onto Sparty. Party goes low. Goes down.
back
First
in.
blood goes the way to Cherry. And well, again, Panay's going to have to flash away. The snare finds its way onto 3. Will pop the barrier, but is low. Heal going to be used offensively. Chief going to take a tower shot as a result. Not going to go down, but very aggressive from the side of Akuma. Could have almost been dire from them. A bit of a blunder, but they will come out with the kill in the end.
Very nearly an overstep, but he's still looking.
Wait, hold on. Very well could be still. 3 getting hit by every single ability of Chief, so we'll have to go even further back to eventually get the recall off, but going to miss a ton of minions under the tower.
And he is so lucky he didn't get hit by that volley either. Blush sent the volley through the wave. Some of the minions tanked it. Some of the arrows got through. And 3 is just barely behind one of the safe spots. So that's a bit more down to chance than it is down to skill. Just about escaping with a very, very dangerous play there down in the bot side. And that is why Wukong does not gank 3-6. In case you were wondering, in case you were pinging your jungler in solo queue because your Wukong did not gank a lane pre-6, that is why, okay? He just turned up, dashed at the Ashe, who got the whole exchange tanked with a Seraphine W, and then he had to make the slowest crawl back to his side of the wave that I have ever seen in my life. That was just such a miserable exchange for Panay, who then has to flash on top of everything, delays his own level 6 time. He's finally got that now off of his Krugs, but that was just pointless, if I'm going to be brutally honest. And it's cost first blood for his team.
There is a bright outlook for the side of To The Moon Umbriel after that play in the bottom lane is the fact that Chaotic has walked back with a Lost Chapter. It is pretty decently up in farm. Lost Chapter obviously going to be a very big component advantage over mid-cool should something break out around these two mid laners going into the rivers, potentially, especially as Drake is up, and we're not too long from Grubs, though don't really see big fights over Grubs these days, considering how kind of a non-entity they are. As meanwhile, a Vision of Empire really does not care at all about what Winter's doing, just drops a few decimating smashes on his head, and comes out the benefactor of that trade.
Yeah, I mean, Scion things, right? Doesn't even
Scion
bother going
gaming,
with the Bramble Best. Yeah, typically, Scion will go Bramble Best in these types of matchups. Going with the Warden side of things instead, just taking less damage, proves to be a lot more effective than stopping Winter from healing. Winter still definitely up overall in terms of CS, as, to be fair, is chaotic, even though his champion has taken quite the hit over the course of this patch. It's still a positive top side here for To The Moon.
Oh my goodness.
And that absolutely needs to happen. As I'm saying positive top side, Winter's flashing away from another decimating smash. It makes me feel like it's slightly less positive. It is still positive, right? He's still up 20 CS, even though he has just had to burn his flash. We're looking down to bot now.
Here, the stun will find its way on Sparty Party. Very aggressive from the side of TTM's bot lane, but the follow-up from Panay's not quite there. Encore finds a charm onto 2-3, the target of Cherry, who finds the kill, and now goes forward onto Sparty Party, who's low. A few more autos is all he needs, or she needs, sorry. And so Panay, no flash to escape, gets the double kill over to Cherry. Mid-cool, and as you mentioned, already arriving, trying to spot out Sparty Party. Easy setup. Another one goes away of Akuma KTX, and they go up 4-0 and get the Drake.
And this is why I think the Wukong should not have even been pathing towards bot lane, because when you turn up, winning 2v3 is difficult, even with your ultimate. You haven't made the impact in the early game because you're not an early enough jungler to make that impact, right? If this is a pre-6 ganking jungler, then we're talking a very different story. But we treat Wukong the same way that we treat Nocturne. Pre-level 6, he just does not have the same impact on the Rift. And as such, Ashe Seraphine has been able to get into this game freely, and now they are starting to scale at a rate that the Ezreal Braum is really struggling to keep up with. Cherry turns up, gets himself now 2 kills across those 2 different plays. I think he got double kill on that one, but all 4 KP coming through the bot side exchanges. Upper level now onto Panay as well, as he is starting to wail away on a clone. But even Cherry's going to win this, potentially even 3v2. He's still going to have a try.
Chaotic will arrive here first. Vision of Empire and Winter both showing up towards the bottom side just in case anything more came from it. There's still some dancing around in the river. The extra move speed from the Scuttle Crab taken from Panay earlier will...
Oh my god,
okay,
the arrow.
Wait, hold up, the arrow from downtown actually hits its way.
Too.
And then the unstoppable onslaught comes through. So much CC drops onto Winter. Will has to try to have the fate sealed, but it's not enough to escape. Vision of Empire walks forward to stop that and finds the kill onto Winter before he goes. That Panay goes to the wall, steals over the first grub, and will be a 1-for-1 trade. Now the rest of the side of TTM have arrived. Decimating Smash comes down, but doesn't quite find enough. Shutdown goes way of Panay. This Scion's gone way too low. Double kill for Panay with the assistance of Sparty Party on the roam up. Turns a positive play for TTM. Gets very dangerously close from the zombie form Scion, almost stealing away the grub advantage to the side of Akuma KTX. Not quite though. From Vision of Empire.
Yeah, not quite, as it was just one auto attack away, but an interesting decision there to commit into that from Akuma. I feel it's just a touch unnecessary. You already got that pick on towards the Yone. If you want to then commit to the grubs, you have to send 4 still, right? You have to still respect the fact that your enemy can turn up with their support roaming up. Sparty does precisely that, and the numbers advantage is still just too much for Akuma to properly deal with. It's just a little bit confounding that they're not, when they've already got that pick on towards top side, they're not fully committing to the play. They feel like they've already got it in the bag, but a really nice punish there by To The Moon. Turn the tables a little bit, get themselves a couple of kills. They both go towards the Wukong. Not a bad target for early gold by any stretch. You'd like to see that gold go elsewhere, maybe onto Chaotic, but happy to see it on the Wukong, I'm sure. As the only real negative from that is, of course, what happened up in the top side before it, where Winter got hit by one hell of an Ash arrow from Blush from all the way down in bot lane. He saw where he had split his soul from, and he knew he had to snap back at some point. Winter comes flying back into it at the worst timing possible, then takes a full 3.5 second stun to the face, and Vision of Empire happy to pick up the scraps as a result.
Yeah, and I mean, Winter, it doesn't matter how much healing he has with the Blade of the Ruined King, well, at least now in inventory. It wasn't quite the case at the time. If you're not able to auto-attack for the next combined, if I've done my math correctly, 6 seconds, I think, 6.5 seconds
like
is really, yeah, there's really not much you can really do about that. I mean, if you're not auto-attacking or not doing damage, you're not going to be life-stealing away, so, is what it is. Really well done from the side of Blush. Now with said Blade of the Ruined King and no Bramble Vest in inventory for Vision of Empire, we'll have to flash away from Winter. And so, though it was actually not solo killed, because obviously the Ash Arrow, my mistake, was killed earlier by Vision of Empire, is now well and truly, at least in this 1v1 against the Scion, feeling really good.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of that is the CS difference that he's been able to accumulate throughout this game, right? Up about 30, so it's kind of 6 waves of CS, 5-6 waves of CS. That's a big advantage to be having at any phase in the game, but especially this early on. You're 14 minutes, just about to tick onto the clock. Only one Drake has fallen. To be up this much gold in terms of just CS kind of mitigates that kill by quite a lot, right? It allows him to have those kind of moments where he gets hit by something from across the map that he couldn't really do much about. Had to snap back at some point. Unfortunately, happened when he did. Didn't have flash. No chance of escape. But he's got himself that little advantage. Now he has full boots alongside his Blade of the Ruined King. Vision Empire's having a real tough time actually keeping up with him here. I'm surprised he's going to go for the full commit into the Frozen Heart. I thought he was going to go like, just with one spell, but...
Panay will find Cherry.
TPN.
Downtown, won't quite hit the mark. Sparty Party now the target of Akuma KTX. Vision Empire's mission with the TP will come through. Sparty Party going to flash away immediately, knowing the blast gun was there. Will drop the ult, but it won't quite be enough. Cherry will be the one to secure the kill onto the Braum. With Drake up once again, it will be the continual stacking from the side of KTX, getting their second of the game. But even more than that, Chief will be spotted out by Panay. The encore drops, finds the charm onto 2. Chief, the one secures the kill onto 3. So now Panay, the only one left alive, getting zoned completely out by Blush, by mid-cool. Scatherweek hits the mark under his own tower. No wave, doesn't matter. Blush gets their first kill of the game. 8-2 to Akuma.
And that's just a big disrespect. I feel after the Braum dies, you know the play is dead as TTM, right? You already know that the dragon is gone, and you already know that you cannot fight. And yet still they kind of look for it. They're wondering, is this only one person that's going to be taking this? Is it only 2 people going to try and take us on in a 2v2? No, like they can leave the Xin on the Drake for as long as possible. They are going to send all 3 if you engage them. And speaking of 3, it's just Ezreal walking way too far in that type of situation. Panay as well, just looking to take the fight instead of backing off. Uses Cyclone, ends up dying for nothing. And it's just a questionable maneuver there when, before that, the game was still in a pretty good state. Now, second Drake going over was never going to feel great. The Braum dying kind of is what it is, right? Hasn't got any kills, not going to be worth a lot of gold. Ezreal and Wukong dying matters a lot more.
Yeah, and 3 now sitting 0-2, and the rest of TTM down 2.5 gold, slightly over that mark at 16.5 minutes. Definite advantage to the side of Akuma, and the only reason why it really isn't worse for the side of TTM as a whole is the fact that Winter is expectedly running things in the top lane, but that's really their only saving grace so far.
It really is, and I'm not sure how much this is
the mid lane as well. Actually, just a quick glance, but
yeah, CS has gone really well for To The Moon, I have to say, and it's allowing things like this in the side lane to actually work out for Celtic still.
Yeah, and Shockwave does land, speaking of chaotic, but the unleashed power will get the Orianna really low, won't quite find the kill, and with Panay arriving, it will secure the shutdown over to the Wukong, and get some extra gold back to the side of To The Moon.
How is that a shutdown?
It couldn't have been a very big one. Like,
I hope it wasn't. As we kind of carry on.
Either way, the Unbreakable had already been used, and so the Encore follow-up cannot be stopped. Blush will get the kill after Chief find the charms onto 2, but the teleport into the mid lane will try to secure things. Cherry will pop the Crescent Guard as quickly as possible. A good beat drop will stop the advance of TTM. Winter's not going to hit the Fate Seal, and so Akuma go back forward. The slows are dropped from Blush. He's moving so fast beautiful. With the Ghost. The stun onto 2. Blush secures the kill. Second one goes over to mid-cool. Really good absorption of that pressure by the side of ATX. They keep cool, and as a result, mid-cool picks up 1 for himself, and Akuma pick up 2 on top of the mid lane tier 1.
And this is why it's such a difficult comp to skirmish into. Like, the power in this phase of the game and from here on is just so difficult to contend with for any comp, but especially something that hasn't really come online yet, like this Ezreal just at the Triforce spike. You're not going to have the same level of power that Ashe, Seraphine, Xin Zhao, Syndra are going to be possessing, even at these 1 item spikes, especially with Blush picking up a second item before that fight even occurs. It just puts it beyond the realm of possibility. Unfortunately, that's just a 3rd death for 3, a 4th as Party, and now 11 total kills for Akuma as they're looking to make a proper stamp here on game 1. Remember, this is win or go home already in a best of 3, pre-best of 5s. This is win, you're in, lose, and you are out. An amazing way to lay down the gauntlet to start the series off for Akuma.
Yeah, now sitting 4K gold up or slightly over. Going to look to find another play on to the mid lane. Chance Crystal Arrow doesn't quite hit the mark onto 3, but the danger was definitely there for the ADC of TTM.
Yeah, I mean, it's just constant pressure, right? As soon as you work out the ramifications of that play, it's not just that play in isolation, it's also the summoners that are burnt. 3 using flash, chaotic you losing flash. You can look towards side lanes now as a real pressure point for Akuma. If they want to play down towards this bot side where the Orianna is basically in isolation, you absolutely can. You have perma mid push because you have Ashe Seraphine that is ahead. You can just guarantee yourselves that push, and then you can work your way down into this bot side chaotic. He's up 70 CS right now. If Akuma were able to play this right, mid-cool's able to CS, which he's doing surprisingly un-mid-cool-like job of today, I feel like we could be seeing that CS gap really start to close down. It's just going to require a lot more pressure to be shown on bot side, especially when Panay is showing top.
Yeah, and with the Drake spawning in 5 seconds, it will secure, or at the very least ensure, that TTM are able to pick up top lane tier 1. But that will be it, and the trade should almost certainly be Akuma moving on to Drake for themselves and moving on to Cloud Soul Point.
Yeah, I mean, Drake and the tier 2. If Midcool sticks around, though, he might be staying too long because they're trying to make a fight out of this,
Doesn't
actually.
have teleport either. Beat drop finds the stun onto Panay. Gentle's arrow will slow the advance. Drake goes the way of Akuma. They back away. Teleport from the side of Vision of Empire does arrive at now.
He's looking for
it. A bit late. Hold on. Encore finds a charm onto the Ezreal 3. Way too hard for it. And Blush secures the kill. And onto the back line. The Unstoppable Onslaught sets up a perfect flank and collapse from Akuma. They find another 2 onto Sparty Party and Chaotic. And the amount of CC that they have to ensure Winter can't move anywhere. That Winter can't do anything to make it 4-0 the way of Akuma. As soon as Baron spawns, it's gone from worst to, I guess, worst for the side of TTM as a result of the incredible play from Vision of Empire on that flank.
Yeah, and it's just, as you say, it was already bad, right? And now it is just worse than bad. Like, it was already worse than bad, probably, as I think you're alluding at. It is now approaching the point of unplayability already for To The Moon. And you know, it's not surprising. To be perfectly honest, we saw this coming out of draft, right? Yeah, this is one hell of a draft that Akuma put together. If they were to match this in game 2, I'll be quite surprised because this level of power comes around once. Randuin.
The exception of wait,
I'm sorry. I DC'd. I'm back.
Yeah.
One's belt, like double one's belt. Randuin. Oh my god. Okay, just kill the Yoda.
Yeah, Enchanted Crystal Arrow hits onto Winter. Does force the flash away. Cherry's looking for a bit more. They will get the extra move speed from the Cloud map, and so the Audacious Charge hits. But the ult used by Winter, along with the flash from earlier, will get him away.
Just about though. Keep on playing as well. Like with Mythical really starting to take over in the bot side, right? 2 items actually somehow hit first for the Syndra compared to the Orianna, just because of how well the rest of the map is going. One of the rare instances where the mid just kind of gets to free hit this whole game. Cherry, I mean, did he take damage there?
It did.
I'm not convinced.
But they're healed right back.
He's back up at full. I'm not sure he did.
Back up with the red buff there to be able to stolen away. Yeah.
Insane.
Yeah. That was kind of funny to see. Taking an ult to the face from Sparty Party, Glacial Fissure used, and Akuma just didn't care. Continued push into the top lane and allows them to at least get the tier 1, but the Shockwave follow-up on the Cyclone not quite going to hit, unfortunately. It's a very good targeting onto Blush, but just not quite able to get the follow-up that they needed.
And good respect shown as well by Cherry. It is easy to overstay in these types of situations. When you're playing a 1-3-1, you need to be working out as a team when certain people are allowed to go forward and certain people are allowed to go back. The instant communication after that play was made, okay, right now they're looking towards you on mid, able to drop back. There's a much less threat, especially with Shockwave and Cyclone being used. That Wukong is paper thin, but you still have to respect it, especially when you're playing as one of the ones.
Yeah, and with that use of the 1-3-1, or I guess 3-1-1, as it was, if you're talking about the actual numbers, did open up all the inhibitors now with the top lane tier 3 going down. Top inhibitors down, the push forward comes through, and TTM just a bit too split on their positioning to be able to collapse on these isolated members of Akuma. Lost to mid and top inhibitor with the Drake spawning in 40 seconds, or slightly over 40 seconds.
And their Waking sucks.
Yeah. It's
Winter's,
not ideal.
Winter's is alright. Orianna's okay. Ezra wave clear, especially from behind. It's not talked about for how good it is to be able to stall the game, right? This is no Sivir. This is just average level of ADC wave clear. Can ult down every now and again, but we're at the phase of the game where you're this far behind. It's a question mark even whether you want to. He's going to go for it this time. I mean, do you see Vision of Health Bar's health bar changing? Like, I don't see it changing from that True Shot Barrage. It hit him.
No, you'll press W though, and I mean,
there's
a slight nick in his health bar, but Scout of the Week hits the mark, and so the follow-up with the Ashe arrow gets Chaotic really low, not quite enough to secure the kill, but gets the flash out of the mid laner of To The Moon. Right as the Drake spawns, and this one will go to the side of Akuma KTX without any trouble.
Yeah, this is just what a game that is waiting to end looks like. Akuma trying to tick the boxes. They know what's at stake in this game, right? They know what a mistake could mean for them, and they want to do everything they can to avoid such a mistake. The Soul at 26 minutes is a great way to avoid those types of mistakes. A great way to guarantee, with as much as you possibly can guarantee in League, that you are going to end this game in the cleanest fashion possible. You can slow siege onto this inhib if you want to. You can wait another minute on Baron if you absolutely must, but it just feels like it's a hero engage has worked.
TTM go in. They'll find the shutdown onto Blush. This could be the hero play that TTM have looked for, but Sparty Party will eventually go down from Terra to make it 1v1. Winter gets back in with the Q3, but it's a little bit too far forward. Mid-Cool finds the kill onto the Yone, and so any damage and any hopes that To The Moon had to be able to turn the fight around are dashed with them. Akuma KTX, look for a second, they might have overplayed their hands a little bit too much, but the 12k gold advantage that they had at the time of the fight is too much for To The Moon to handle, and game one is easily and comfortably secured by the side of KTX.
And that is the issue with sending everything on enemy ADC when there's still so many other threats. Midcool and Cherry step up massively to take over the damage that Blush would have been doing had he not been sent everything onto that massive engage that TTM were looking to use the Wukong Orianna combo. It works to get one, but when the Ashe plays sort of isolated in that sense, you're making sure that that whole combo is used onto just one person. Blush has the knowledge, he has the trust that the rest of his team is going to be able to pick up that slack and finish off that game with or without him. That is going to be his first and only death in the game. 4 deaths as a team. No one getting more than just a single death. An amazing performance by Akuma, and I was almost right on the timing as well. I said it 35 minutes ago. This was just a draft diff.
Yeah, I mean, not only was it a draft, I mean, it was definitely a pretty sizable draft diff. I think we got a little bit of confirmation bias on that one as well. But I mean, Akuma KTX in general in the early game just looked better overall, outside of like maybe the mid lane with the CS lead Chaotic was getting, but really outside of that, it was controlled and cool and confident from Akuma KTX. So they put themselves in a really good spot to qualify for playoffs and send To The Moon Umbriel packing. But it's only the first game of a potential 3. To The Moon still have one more chance to keep their season alive. Might have another 2 depending on how this one goes, and we'll see what they do with it after this break. So we'll see you on the other side of that.
In the shadows and the stories of the past.
We are back for the draft of Game 2 between To The Moon Umbriel and Akuma KTX. Akuma looking very comfortable in that first game. So TTM Umbriel, to save their season, have to come back in this one. We'll see what changes they make going forward, targeting a lot of these ADCs early on in the draft, Rue. Well, I mean, they were showing the sin up, but I
That's
fell
what you
for it.
get.
I took the bait. It's true. That's fair. That's fair.
They did ban center third in game 1. Maybe they're just looking for the symmetry to get it third again.
Ooh.
Well, they're actually going to change things up a little bit. There we go. They're actually going to change it straight to the Jarvan ban, which is maybe indicative of what they're looking to go themselves. Bear in mind, they banned center game 1. Maybe they're looking to take it early on. Doesn't have a great time into Jarvan, who has very high base stats and can absolutely destroy a champion as immobile as the ghosty person. Hey, look at that.
Which is what they do. First pick the
We did some analysis.
Yeah. Heck yeah. We did it. You did it, I guess. I sat here and
I picked up on it because you pointed out.
Yeah, but yeah, heck yeah. Cinna, the first pick from the side of TTM Umbriel. And I mean, this is a champion that has been rising in popularity very quickly, Real.
Yeah, and naturally, right? When people look at different champions, they'll have a look at the how they're playing in solo queue. They see a champion that's suddenly winning like 52, 53, 54%. They're like, ooh, this looks interesting. Center on this patch, 55. Just untouchable, apparently.
Oh my goodness.
You play 20 games, you're winning 11. Right? Overall, that's going to be like, maybe plus 60 LP over those 20 games. People are going to take that. And if you're really good at it, you're going to get more. And bear in mind, those stats are also brought down by the players that are new to playing center as well. Just disgusting right now.
Yeah, I mean, it's a very simple champion. It has really good scaling, even with the build that it's had that's been recently been picking up in popularity. It does a ton of damage. Cinna just does everything other than tank, and it's just kind of disgusting. It is a little bit weak early on, though, and doesn't quite start hitting like a truck from 7 screens away until she gets her soul. So going to Caitlyn from the side of Akuma ATX, going to wanting matching it with some aggression. I mean, we saw how early they were able to take that lead in the bot lane in game 1. They're going to be looking to do so again in game 2.
Yeah, absolutely.
Gangplank, right? Okay. I know Winter plays this, but when was the last time
you just pick all the solo queue champs?
I mean,
Gangplank had when Deathfire Touch was first released, he had a massive spike in being played. Hasn't quite had the same impact as it has as a rune for things like Smolder, but still very, very impactful in the top side, and perfectly fine if that is going to be the Ambessa that he's going to be matching. Just take that pick with a large grain of salt. Doesn't have to be the Ambessa being taken up to top. Can also be jungle. Cherry does play a fair bit of the Ambessa, so you hold out where that's going for the time being, but TTM just happy to play the Gangplank at any rate. And then pairing their Nami in the bot side, that healing is already screaming anti-heal for me.
Yeah.
I'm wondering if we're going like Mortar-Mind a second as Caitlyn or something crazy.
We could potentially see it, but Bard is a lock in for the side of Akuma KTX alongside the Caitlyn. Chief does play quite a bit of this champion. Is one that they are comfortable on, and in this matchup with the Caitlyn into the Senna, with how much that Akuma KTX needs to be able to run away once again in this bottom lane. Getting your favorite champion is certainly a good way to do that.
Yeah, interesting to see that ban there coming through from Akuma. Very rare that we see things like Amumu banned away. But, they seem to have like a very clear idea of what they don't want to be playing into right now, and it is CC. I think for the second rotation, it's something that To The Moon is definitely missing. When you go Enchanter support and you already pick what we'd probably assume to be our top lane that also has
it will be
0 CC,
like
you're gonna need some form of engage through jungle.
Top lane.
Right, it should be like Gangplank should be top lane, right? So you're looking for other forms of CC that can come through. Akuma are just gonna take away the easiest of them. Surprised that To The Moon are also going to get rid of Zac, which is something they could have potentially gone for themselves. There's still plenty more junglers that have CC, but the instant go buttons of Zac and Amumu are really hard to match.
Yeah, and Victor being hovered right now from the side of from Real. Oh my God, I saw it under. I read your name with it. But anyway, from the side of Akuma. Sorry, it's taking a while.
I mean,
It
Victor
will
apparently.
be.
Oh,
Oh, well, okay. Well, I mean,
Silas
Silas instead. I mean, Victor would have been one that chaotic plays quite a bit. But not going to fully target out those junglers, and Aurora also now off the board. I'm gonna feel like potentially you could see the flexibility from the side of from Akuma KTX coming through. KTX. So we'll probably see a mid laner come. Of course, right to say that Malphite to lock in for them. So wouldn't be seeing that.
If you think the Gangplank is top, this is a time to just send it, right? And let's be honest, that Gangplank should be top. Winter plays a lot of Gangplank, and Gangplank doesn't exist in any other lanes right now. Just such a stable pick, and now you can kind of ignore the fact that you didn't have the best engage before. Now you can use the Bard as follow-up CC onto that Unstoppable Force. The Ambessa doesn't worry about her extra cast time on her ultimate. She can just send it when the Malphite sends it. Pick any target you feel like, and very clean engage now for Akuma. And TTM, they're going to do their best to try and mitigate it. Skarner can do that if he's outside of that initial knockup. The Impale, very good at denying follow-up, but he's going to have to be outside of that initial burst. Otherwise, he's just going to be caught inside of everything else, and those claws aren't doing much.
Yeah, and well, as a frontliner with CC, what we're looking for out of the jungle, Skarner definitely does fit the bill on that front. Lissandra also has a decent amount of CC available, is a little bit risky on that from the Glacial Tomb. Somewhat short range, and obviously being able to press W does rely on you being able to claw in, so not necessarily the most comfortable there on the amount of use of the CC, but definitely does have the ability to follow up on said Skarner and extend the CC that are coming through. Nefiri is disabled. We're not picking this. Yeah, okay. I was about to say. I was about to say. I mean, to be fair, I have fallen for the hovers, but that is a really scary hover with 2 seconds to go in the draft, especially when Akuma plays this champ. It's like, wait a second, guys, have we forgotten?
That takes like large balls. I respect it, but we can't be throwing up into that.
Yeah, no, I was opening up my DMs to Bully for a second. We were like, what is the ruling of this one? Fortunately, sorry. We won't quite get that. Mel is the lock-in for the side of Akuma KTX, a champ that's not exactly the strongest. Her heyday is definitely gone, but definitely can still be surprising if you start stacking up the Golden Eclipse enough. When you press R, can still throw you out of your seats when you see it come through.
Yeah, and Lissandra is one of those matchups for Mel as well that isn't as bad as her other ones, right? We're used to seeing Mel as kind of answer into Ari, and that's about it. But this is a champion that Midcool is very proficient at, and even throughout all of these nerfs, the underlying impact of the champion is still there. It's just harder to get that value, right? The E now is smaller, right? It's narrower, and the root doesn't quite stretch as much width either, so you just have to be more precise. Your Q is narrower. You have to be more precise. You have to almost you land the root before you go for the Q, because otherwise it's very unlikely to land. Auto attacks, still very potent. Ultimate, unmissable. Reflection is still reflection. Not that there's a lot to worry about from a to the moon perspective. Tidal wave, bubble, Senna W as well. Good things to get rid of, but beyond that, not a lot, if we're being honest. So it's not the most valuable matchup here, but it's okay into Lissandra, and it's something that Midcool has a lot of comfort on. I think personally I'd like to see something a bit more like a Victor, which is something he also plays a fair chunk of, but not quite as much as he plays Mel, which is right up there with his Ari that is rightly banned away by To the Moon as such. You're just defaulting onto comfort. I think it's fine, especially when you're at your series point and you're looking to, maybe there's nerves a little bit up. You have to win this game if you want to get through to the playoffs. Comfort, absolutely fine.
And so we will see if To the Moon's comfort picks will be enough to get them in the zone to send them through a third and final deciding game, or if Akuma can take their advantage and run with it like they did in game one. We'll see after the spectator delay. Okay, anyway, we will be loaded onto the Rift in just a few short moments.
So hold our heads up high and beat the drum to what we love. Risk the fall, oh, we have felt it all come crashing down from far above. Stars are rising, countless worlds colliding, only one will take it all. Can we bring to fall the giants? Can we make the final call? We are the ones to ignite the darkened skies, the champions of a world that we defy. A soul ray of the few who rise up high, and we all fight at the last line. Hearing voices from afar, join the madness when the curtain falls. Risk it all, hold nothing back. Seize the day, we must attack. Stars are rising, countless worlds colliding, only one will take it all. Can we bring to fall the giants? Can we make the final call? We are the ones to ignite the darkened skies, the champions of a world that we defy. A soul ray of the few who rise up high, and we all fight at the last line. Can we bring to fall the giants? Can we bring to fall the giants? Can we
We are back for game 2 between To The Moon Umbriel and Akuma KTX. Umbriel up with their backs against the wall. Have to be able to win this game to continue their season to give.
I think Isaac died. I'll carry on. They have to win this to be able to carry on this season.
I can hear you guys.
Isaac is back. Welcome back.
Okay. See, I heard you the whole entire time, and I saw the video feed the whole time. So it's like, I was like, wait, did I?
You might have nothing else, but we're moving on from that now.
Anyway, yeah. Point still stands. Point still stands. That TTM absolutely must win. And early on, while we expect the training's not going to be all that great, the extra pressure from the Caitlyn Bard will be enough to get 3 and Party down to half HP. But on the Senna, on the Nami, will eventually heal back up.
Yeah, lots to sustain through this lane, but 3 already having to burn barrier is important, right? Whenever you can get these summoners out of a lane like this, it gives you a much stronger capability for the all-in when the all-in is required. And that should be the gleaming point here for Blush and for Chief. They got that summoner. They can look to put a little bit more pressure on next time. This isn't putting more pressure on. This is taking damage, but it's not bad. It's still not bad.
It's not that bad. And then plus, even with the initial damage and the amount of push that the Caitlyn Bard will get, it's almost inevitably going to mean that 3 is going to be missing out on quite a bit of farm anyway. So
doesn't hate that as a center though.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, you get more souls, so definitely does help. But who is kind of hating things right now is going to be Vision of Empire. Was taken quite low at points. Was looking scary for him, and still kind of is. You expect Winter to do numbers on his ever-favorited Gangplank.
And this is always the dilemma, I guess, when you play Malphite, right? Is what do you start with? Do you start with the ring so you actually have mana and you can press Q, or do you start with the shield and make sure that you can't die? Maybe even go, I guess nowadays with the helm as well. Another option to mitigate whatever's going to come your way. Choosing to go with the ring this time means he can play a little bit more aggressive, especially in times like this. He has his passive up as well. Not quite at an all-in timer just yet in terms of health, but it's getting close. We can look down to what that's an all-in timer.
Speaking of all-in timers, Magical Carnation Journey comes out of Chief, and the Q lands the mark. First blood goes the way of Blush, just barely at max range.
I thought that Sparty had put that bubble down in time, but the rifle is just so accurate from Blush. Didn't hit a minion first, so he gets the extra damage. It's so narrow, but he lands it anyway. And 3, who had flash up, does not use it, does not dodge, ends up dying instead. And that is not a very good first death at all. Interesting decision in terms of items. So it looks like it, 650 gold goes for a tier dagger. Now, that's not part of the usual center build. But the dagger is. The dagger is. The tier is not.
It's one that you see ever so often, but is not a part, as you said, with the go-to Senna build these days.
Shift Cleaver is so disgusting.
Yes, Shift Cleaver is absolutely disgusting. But the tier is not a part of that process. So, I mean, the only thing I can think of maybe is that they expect it to be really awful and needs to be able to use the Q on cooldown to heal up as much as possible.
Is Vision gonna hit 6?
Awful. Wait, Winter in a little bit of trouble.
Vision hit 6 first here. This is such an awkward timer.
We're right at that moment. It could be an absolutely massive decision depending on who does get it. Before we get to that, the only thing I can think of is maybe that 3 wants to be able to use the heal as much as possible, the piercing darkness. But I mean, outside of that, it is certainly. It is a choice.
Yeah, I mean, it does enable the sustain, as you're implying, that when you have more mana, you can sustain more. That's a good flash away by Winter. Unstoppable Force being used as soon as it's available, but getting the summon instead of the kill is all the Malphite will be able to do. Can have another play.
Talking about kills, we're going to get a
we're
gank from
binding.
Cherry coming through. Cosmic Binding hitting the mark. Sparty going to flash away. The kills will be enough to keep him alive, and now as Panay arrives, besides TTM can turn this one around. Winter gets the first kill. Snare finds its way onto Blush. Panay very low health. 3 pushing forward even more. The barrier is still available to Blush. 3 comes right off cooldown. So these two ADCs are still alright. 3 hit by the Cosmic Binding. Won't quite get the kill though. Panay and 3 are so incredibly low, but the heals are slowly coming out. Cheat kind of in this alcove. Wait, hold on. KTX arrived in the mid lane from the mid lane all the while. On the mini map, you might have been able to see that, but the focus has been too much onto that. But mid cool full health will drop the ult, finds a kill onto KTX. Panay also very low, but in all this time, Sparty has arrived. Double kill goes way of mid cool. The heal drops down onto 3. Team alive a little bit longer. Mid cool feeling all right. Going back in, finds the triple kill, but the snare drops. Bubble finds its way through. Apparently, kill will go over to 3, but now Cherry in all this time, Cherry's respawn, taking a few tower shots. Hits the tower. Cherry, no! Cherry, no!
Oh no, it's a disaster!
No,
it's a disaster! Oh, you can't be doing that after all of that effort, all that time invested. Cherry turns back up to bot lane to try and even out the play, but Sparty's too safe. He's so far under the turret, and Cherry goes for the auto attack. Doesn't target champions only, slaps the turret, doesn't even proc the Crystal Overgrowth. There's no minions there. The backdoor protections keeps it going, and it's just a second death on the play for the Ambessa. The silver lining is that the death, like the kill goes to the Nami, so yeah, it's not the worst person to just randomly give 300 gold to, but you did just give a donation of 300 gold. Like it's still not a good thing.
It is not the greatest thing, but. In all that time, they did get 3 kills over to mid-cool, so they'll be feeling quite alright on the Mel. Upton CS as well should be at quite the advantage state with the Hextech Alternator as well, using it to its fullest, getting KTX down to half HP on the lone in the trade. But hold on, Unstoppable Force and top lane hits the mark. Cherry's arrived up top. The public execution lands onto Winter. So Cherry will find that kill, but move over to the mid lane, mid cool. The target of the gank from Panay as a response will find the kill over to the Skarner.
Yeah, interesting in there on the top side. I would have expected Cherry to ult as fast as humanly possible onto Winter, who cannot cleanse knock up with his oranges. But instead, waits a little bit of time, gives him the possibility of dodging, but still able to just about connect there on the public execution, even with its increased cast time, able to just about land it this time round. Gets the gank on the top, but you show jungle on top, somewhere else is going to be open to gank on the rest of the Rift, and to the moon, able to do precisely that with Panay, finding mid-cool just a little tad far up in mid itself, gets that back, and it turns it into a 1-for-1 across the Rift.
Yeah, but talking about back, mid-cool will be returning to the mid lane with a Luden's Echo in inventory. So we'll be at quite an accelerated pace here. At first full item, going to be absolutely massive for mid-cool to be able to, deal more damage and, clear out these waves even more, keep KTX in the lane and, pushed out and low health.
Yeah, first item this early is always scary no matter what you're playing, as 3
lane gank
is baiting.
Ace in the hole hits the mark, and the ult from the gangplank will come through, but Chief finds the kill immediately. Impale's not going to hit anybody. It's a 1-for-1 Sparty, the one to claim that kill, but with everything sent to the bottom lane, the fact that it goes 1-for-1 will feel good for Akuma KTX.
Yeah, it doesn't feel great for them that Cherry then turns up and can't find any value himself. Doesn't lose out in terms of camp tempo or anything like that, but he would have liked to be able to get a little bit more out of the play than maybe just the crab that did spawn there in the bot side. But still can be okay as mid-cool is a little bit far forward.
Oh, and will be hit by the Glacial Tomb, which just might be mid-cool, going to be killed by Panay once again, but the counter gank from Cherry makes it 1-for-1. Ishtal impact, going to stun Cherry into the wall. Doesn't have the flash just yet, going to dash away as quickly as possible. We go up to the top lane. Winter now taken very low by the Unstoppable Force of Vision of Empire. Cheese Wheel comes through. Solo kill for Vision of Empire.
Yeah, just abusing this flash timer from Winter, who's had now 2 deaths since he used his flash to avoid the first Unstoppable Force. It's just it's just getting worse for the Gangplank.
Yeah.
Gotta respect it, right? You have to respect your own flash timer. It's really good as well to see Akuma tracking it as well as they have. They know, they can still make that play. Vision can still make that play, even though it's close to coming back off. Now Winter has it. While he's died in the fountain, he's got it back off cooldown. But able to make those 2 kills for himself. Well, 1 kill for him, I guess, 1 kill for Cherry. But it's an advantage that he's generated through his side laning, and that's a vast departure from what we saw in game 1. He was put onto the tank in game 1, and he was just getting weak side of the hell out of, exactly as, to be fair, he should be, as a Scion. But the Yone was kind of destroying it. This time around, he's had 1 gank, and he got 1 kill with it, and now he's got another one for himself after already burning the flash earlier on. And next time he wants to press ultimate, he can do kind of the same thing again.
Yeah, and I mean, Winter will have the flash, as you had mentioned, did come back off cooldown in the respawn timer, so won't quite be as easy to secure said kill, but getting Winter's flash once again, yeah, it's still going to feel. That's the point I was going to get to. It still feels fine either way. Much longer cooldown, especially with how close Vision of Empire is to level 11 and a much reduced cooldown on the Unstoppable Force.
Yeah, at that point you can just keep on going, right? You do have to be careful about trying to get it for these fights that you're going to take. Like the Drake fight, which by the way still has been taken. First Drake still alive after nearly 7 minutes now. Wave
only going to hit Chief. Public execution goes straight to the bat line. Mid cool going to find the kill onto Sparty Party quickly, but the snare comes through. Teleport down from Vision of Empire hits its way onto Chaotic in 3. The Gangplank ult going to find the damage a little bit to help secure the kill onto mid-cool, and now Winter has officially arrived. Blush going to flash away, and Barrier to stay alive, autoing down. Will get to the extra kills, gets the time. Cherry the one to secure it, double kill. Winter, though, still alive, gets the kill onto Chief. It is currently a 3-4-2. The side of Winter gets it 3-4-3, slowed by the cheese wheel of Vision of Empire, but 2 levels up on the Malphite will be too much for Winter to handle, but the Sin is back up. The Dawning Shadow gets the kill for Winter, triple kill on this Gangplank shutdown. We'll get him a nice injection of gold. Blush was trying to find a way forward onto this extremely low health Gangplank, but the arrival of Sparty Party will deny any sort of chance at that.
What an insane play down there in the bot side. That has saved Winter's game. That exact sequence. Before, he was struggling. He was having nightmares about top lane. Now he is right back into things that are huge gold injection for the Gangplank, who was previously struggling. And chat has noticed this. He went Essence Reaver first, normal Gangplank things. You seeing his boots?
Yeah, magic pin boots, and an amp tome too.
Intriguing.
Oh, that's he's not going to go on hit with the Rage Blade. Hopefully not. I mean, maybe.
I wonder if this is like a Malignance type thing.
Maybe.
He just goes.
Malignance could do numbers. Maybe.
I don't really know what AP Gangplank builds these days. I haven't been watching my solo backer, so I guess that's on me, but it's an interesting departure here from the norm. Into a Malphite, it makes sense, right? Building damage, physical damage into a Malphite sucks. It is just miserable, because he does not care how much physical damage you throw at him. He will tank it because he is a rock. Going AP, I don't hate it, but after Essence Reaver first does feel a touch odd.
It is. I mean, the Essence Reaver, we could say the mana, but you get better mana options from AP items in general. So, intriguing.
He didn't want to give it away.
Does
was he trying to bait the bills?
Either way,
the
Water's
still gonna get value.
And before we get to that, mid-cool going to be targeted of a gank from Panay, burnt down, nowhere to go. Winter with the ult will secure said kill, and in the mid lane showing up, helping out.
That's his second
there
with an ult across the map. Right, first one down in bot side, second kill with his ultimate now into mid. Somehow snuck his way up to 5 kills. Bear in mind he was getting absolutely dogged in this lane by Vision. He is just he's now like not just back in the lane, but like he's in some regards ahead, right? Still getting pushed in, still not feeling great in the 1v1 if it comes down to a fist fight. But the fact that he's at this kind of stage of the game where he is in a very playable state is fascinating. We got here is Cherry's going to go sending it. Hello.
Not quite going to hit the mark, but the
this Nami.
Yeah, the Nami, all this huge tidal wave hits everyone, and the Impale gets Cherry back, but the Magical Journey will get him away a little bit further. The flank from Chaotic eventually arrives, cutting out any sort of chance that Cherry had. Numbers advantage to the side of TTM means Blush and Chief fully off their own towers now, but Panay chases them down. 2 kills. The stun finds its mark for Chaotic. 3 to the side of TTM in the bot lane. Go unanswered.
Yeah, and it's an interesting decision across the rift there from Akuma. They look to take the fight to some regard. They didn't realize it's a really bad choice, but it's a fight that they started where they had numbers disadvantage, right? Chaotic roaming out of mid once more. He's a Lissandra. He's going to be roaming out of mid. Mid cool? He's got to be knowing that he's roaming out of mid, right? You have to know as a team that Lissandra is not in lane. And yet they still look to take the fight as we're going to carry on.
Hits the mark, no flash on. Winter is talking about roaming out of mid lane. Mid cool up top. We'll get the shutdown. The nice little setup from Vision of Empire. Press Q gets him a pretty good injection of gold.
Yeah, press Q, press R, and then Mel press Q. It's pretty easy, I guess. It's just
that's
a
how
single tap. Yeah. He's going gantries. I'm sorry. I'm very sidetracked by this Gangplank build to watch about the rest of the game, but
that is fair.
That bot lane, like, it's just a bit much there for Akuma, especially with this version of Ambessa. Your ultimate is so different, so vastly changed from how it used to be. It sounds like such an inconsequential difference, right? 0.7 seconds compared to 0.55, but the extra 0.5 seconds, that's like half of a human reaction time, right? That extra amount of time allows you to position your mouse differently on the keyboard. You can click away. You can dodge this ultimate now. It's not just the top pros that can dodge the public execution. It is now something that people can do, and we saw it down there in the bot side. Even with perfect placement, it can be dodged, and without the Ambessa being able to get onto the backline, especially a jungle Ambessa who's building lethality, it changes the dynamic of what this champion can do. Suddenly she's a lot less focused about being able to make these ganks work, and she has to have some form of setup. Whether that comes in the form of Chief landing a Cosmic Binding, whether it comes through the Malphite, throwing an Unstoppable Force, someone has to start it for the Ambessa. There are ways to do it through every lane still. Cherry definitely can get value, but they can't be the ones starting things off. And when you then don't have that massive engage tool, you don't have the follow-up tool either, you kind of just lose out in the skirmish, as we saw down there in the bot side.
And we might see a fight coming out here. The rebuttal, though, hits back the tidal wave. Dawning Shadow over the top, going to find the shields, but not enough to keep Sparty Party alive. It will be traded back very quickly onto Mid Cool and Cherry, though. No jungler to the side of Akuma with the Drake spawning. Means that TTM will pick up the second Drake of the game at 19 minutes.
If you didn't bring it up, I was going to. If you didn't say it, I was going to say it. That is a late Drake. Right, these teams not focusing on the Drakes anywhere near as much as they did in the previous game, as we are still focusing on Winter.
Unstoppable Force hits its way onto Winter, who does flash away himself, but Blush and Chief have moved up to the top lane. Will secure a kill onto the gangplank, gets it over to the Caitlyn.
Yeah, amazing cross map from Akuma, and not the right amount of respect shown by Winter. Your team is doing Drake. Your team is seeing that there is no one contesting the Drake. You cannot be that far up in the side lane as a gangplank. 5 kills, 10 kills, 15 kills, you're still going to die, right? You're still not tanky enough unless you've decided to build a Jack Show as a 4th item at 20 minutes. You're not tanky enough. You need to show the respect there as the gangplank. You have to drop back. As it happens, instead, you give her a kill to Blush, who's now 2-item spike on Caitlyn at 20 minutes. And I'll be honest, I'm much more scared of a Caitlyn with a 2-item spike than a Senna with this 2-item spike, a gangplank with whatever the hell that is, the Skarner with his 2 tank items. I feel like Blush right now is in such a powerful position, as is, to be fair, mid cool as well. Ludens plus Shadow Flame is an inordinate amount of power, especially for this early on. as is evidenced by that.
Chaotic down to half HP. Tempered Fate going to force a flash away from Chaotic as well. So mid-cool really showing his extra strength there in the mid lane. Over the top of Chaotic, who will now be a little bit more troubled, a little bit more immobile on the Lissandra. Not completely, obviously, but who might be in trouble now is 3, slowed up by Cherry. Unstoppable Force gets the flash away from the Senna. Will heal back up. The ult comes over the top, and Chaotic does a fair amount of damage himself, finds the kill onto Cherry. The Impale hits the mark onto Chief as well, so TTM pick up 2 quick kills. Importantly, onto the jungler of Akuma KTX, right as the Baron spawns.
Yeah, I mean, that is an amazing turnaround there. I said, why is the Senna there?
Wait, we're teleporting.
I guess.
Wait, why are we teleporting? It's a double teleport.
They can try and contest this.
They're trying.
They don't have ults though.
Doesn't have, as mentioned, doesn't have ult. Mid cool going to be hit by the piercing darkness.
Yes,
going to have to flash away from Panay. Snare not quite going to find its way onto the Senna there, and so Panay finally gets the kill onto Vision of Empire. Golden Eclipse finds the shutdown onto Chaotic. Blush trying their best to eventually arrive. Double kill goes the way to Panay. So 2 kills go to the side of TTM. Blush flashing forward aggressively towards Party away from the bubble. Can't quite find the kill. Cosmic Binding going to prevent anything from Panay. My feed has completely died on me.
It works.
So,
oh my god. No. Cherry's into the backline. He's gone down. Public Execution was perfect. Winter is going to finish him off though, as the Skarner still walking around half HP. Blush keep on tagging away. This Skarner is not looking too healthy at all. 3's coming back up with full HP though. Going to be disengaged cone. Going to keep Chief safe just about. Baron, most importantly though, stopped by Akuma, is the overwhelming thought of this play. But how we got there is insane.
It is insane is absolutely the right term. Cherry coming through and getting around that fight as well, slowing things down enough, ensuring that Panay stays low and keeps the Baron up is, as you mentioned, the most important thing. But double teleports from way back earlier used from Akuma does put them at a slight disadvantage around the map for a bit, especially with the Cannon Barrage available to Winter being a global ultimate, and also the teleports can definitely look to find advantage fights in terms of number around the map a lot easier now. Of course, that's Party going to find the stun on from Chief onto 2. Chaotic is waiting in the wings to try to find a counter punch. To the wave comes over the top. Chaotic secures that kill. Very good patience, very good luring from the side of TTM to be able to get the kill there. A bit important. So another one drops onto Cherry. That's their 8th death of the game. Wow. Importantly, as the next Drake spawns in 30 seconds.
Yeah, this is a Hex Tech Drake as well. I mean, Soul is a little bit less of a win con than it normally would be. I feel like by the time that Soul is secured by either team,
that's fair.
3 is very much online. Chaotic is in a dangerous place, but he's able to dip his way out very effectively with that.
The rest of
teleport is
TTM,
actually baited. They're having a look.
A Snare going to come up short of Party, same as the Cosmic Binding, but for...
They're trying to turn. This is such an odd play. I think Isaac's died once more, and Mikkel had to tank that. Skarner keeps the face. It's a 5v2. They're just forced to come into. Mikkel and Chief just going to go down too far up in the side lane. Not even a question of help coming through from Akuma. They're just not in the right position to assist. And Vision of Empire is split pushing on top side tier 2. It wasn't even possible. I'm kind of shocked that Akuma put themselves in that type of position. I mean, good bait by Chaotic, I guess. They forced the overextension. That is now a second Drake as well as 3 really starting to scale into this game. He is getting up towards 80 stacks at this phase already. It's getting to a point where this Senna is going to really start to hurt, especially with the Cleaver not being too far around the corner.
Check. You're
back.
Low? Cool. Awesome. And also, through all that, Blush and I think it was Blush and the Cherry who were left out available. They were just kind of hanging around, trying to find a way back into that fight. It was really only Vision of Empire getting anything across the map. Tidal Wave from Sparty Party, not quite going to hit the mark.
He's
It's
too
relatively
far.
big ultimate that's going to be unavailable. Going to have to flash away as well.
Oh, the counter bubble.
The yeah, no, it didn't quite hit,
cool.
didn't quite hit the mark, but importantly,
Oh,
Cannon
the counter
Barrage
bubble
no
did. It
longer
landed on the Sparty.
available. I mean, it did some
flexible.
damage. But
It landed
I mean,
on the counter bubble landed on Sparty. He got knocked out by his own bubble. It's fun.
yeah. Either
I'll
way,
defend it.
We'll say it was important. Panay, though, going to go forward with the Ishtal impact. Only going to grab one. Unstoppable Force finds its way onto 3, and the public exchange goes into the back line, but mid-cool deleted down a bit too far. Chaotic also going too far forward. Cherry doing their best to escape. It's a bit of a disjointed fight in which Winter will eventually find the kill onto the jungler of Akuma. Panay flashing forward, finds a way onto Blush. The barrier will keep him alive for a little bit longer, but Panay, this Skarner is so tanky, takes a ton of damage, but the rest of TTM are quite far away. Eventually going to arrive Sparty Party and Winter to heal out, help out their top laner to get out. But 2 kills go the way of TTM with only the one getting back to Akuma. Panay is still alive, but they aren't going to try to start up the Baron.
Yeah, health bar's not in a great place to do so, even with Senna, even with Anami. Not worth the risk. Crazy fight overall, chaotic, absolutely on the full send with Panay. Says if you're going in, I am right there alongside you. But it comes at a very heavy cost, but he does such a good job just zoning out Blush. If the Caitlyn is free firing in that fight, I think it looks like a very different engagement. But the fact that Blush has to sit back, has to peel back, he can't step forward because Chaotic is there with a Frozen Tomb. He can't do anything. He just has to wait for the Lissandra to finally be killable. He's got so much delay as well with the Zhonya's on top that it really kept Blush out the fight for just long enough to get those 2 kills back in return after finding that amazing pick onto mid-call. The Impale, I'm not sure how it dragged him out, I'll be honest, but it pulled him straight through, and the Cherry, I guess this is just kind of Ambessa jungle things where you have to go at a certain point. When you build 2 lethality items, you commit, and it's a one-way ticket. He tries to escape with his thousands of dashes, but doesn't quite work out this time round, as it will be, as you say, that 2 for 1. Still, though, even with the 10 kill disparity, a gold lead for Akuma.
Sometimes I don't even know how to respond.
They
to that
are
one.
up in CS in every role not named jungle or support, and I mean support CS, who cares? Are also at 4 towers to 2. So it makes sense how they're up in gold, but the fact that they are with down 10 kills is kind of cool.
But
also true.
Also on
Doesn't
top
feel
of
like
that, 3 on that front has finally completed their Black Cleaver now. Going to be at a really powerful point in the game. We'll only get more so as this game goes on. So getting stacked up. We obviously checked in a little bit earlier at 80 stacks was pretty significant. We'll even do more so. We've seen 2 of the Piercing Darknesses. The range of that ability, we got an example of it right there. I mean, that's absolutely massive for 3. Look, I mean, that auto attack range is immense currently.
Yeah, I think he may have just taken those around. He's
gonna go finds its way on to 3. Winter now the target of the side of Akuma. Shutdown goes away, but the Impale finds the mark. 3 peels back. Chaotic gets the triple kill, following up perfectly. Bubble finds way onto Blush. Then the magical journey from Chief will get him away a little bit farther. To be fair, Flush does auto back, gets the kill onto Sparty Party. A little push a little bit too far from the side of TTM. They saw their advantage. They lose 1 in the process, and 2 if you count the kill earlier onto Winter, but no Cherry, no mid-cool. Means there's no smite to the side of Akuma, and Panay's still alive, so TTM moves straight onto the Drake. Will bring them up to Soul Point.
Yeah, and we're really encountering like the issues of playing Mel right now, right? Even when you get fed early game, you're still this squishy come mid, come late game.
Going to be snared up by 3.
Magical.
Drops an auto attack. The magical journey got brought closer to the magical journey, but eventually does. It looked scary for a moment. The Ishtal impact might have saved Chief.
Just enough
but
CC
in
on
the
it.
end, just enough CC, just enough damage with the final auto attack from 3 as well. to secure that kill and does kind of stagger the respawn timers on the side of Akuma.
Yeah, it makes it a little more difficult for them to think about this Baron that spawned as well, right? The Baron's been here waiting patiently for its turn in this game. TTM not wanting to overplay too early. We saw them get pushed off it earlier on. A little bit of a desperation play. Chaotic, that's desperate. Oh my god, he got destroyed.
Burnt down. Golden Eclipse is enough to find the shutdown for mid-cool. Top lane tier 1 eventually goes the way of Winter to help out things a bit, but importantly, no Lissandra to the side of TTM. The rest of Akuma push forward even farther. Vision of Empire trying to find an unstoppable force onto either Sparty Party or 3. These vulnerable members of TTM, they're just too far out of range. Takes quite a bit of damage in said search, so it's just going to recall. They're not going to be able to really threaten the Baron here.
Yeah, you know who didn't take damage in that exchange? Skarner. Panay was getting poked away at the whole time, but you wouldn't know that from his health bar, which is naturally even better when he's then in the jungle again. This Skarner is disgustingly strong right now. I think when he hits his base as well, he's going to be at the 4 item mark, going to be going towards his own Protoplasm Harness, matching what Vision has. It's a scary level of Skarner that we're seeing in this game. Yeah. And we're getting to the point where even with the Mortal Reminder, even with 4 crit items, he has random wins. He doesn't care that much about the Caitlyn, and mid-cool is barely surviving long enough to get like a second rotation of spells out during these fights, and sometimes he doesn't even get 1 out. So he's indexed a lot into armor. The Mel is not much of a threat to him. The Ambassador does next to nothing. I don't know how you really get through the Skarner without waiting for 15 seconds, and I don't think you have 15 seconds during a team fight.
And even if you do, you've got the healing from 3 and Sparty Party coming through. Will be very difficult to handle. Yeah. Doesn't have enough move speed to not get hit by the bubble. Yeah, just, it's Bard. Bard gaming. It's how we do. Mid-cool.
Okay. Game stay up there then, because we've got a little bit of time, right? There's potential for Baron for TTM, but they don't want to push too far. They know this is not a massively winning position. All right, they're going to have a look at it, but it's on Vision.
It is on Vision.
I guess we don't get to do a game stay update.
And it'll take a little bit of time for the rest of Akuma to arrive. Obviously, they do have the magical journeys available to them. They're going to now turn to the side of Vision of Empire, who did press forward. The Tempered Fate does find its way onto the back line, onto Winter and 3, who will flash away. Unstoppable Force hits its way onto Sinnoh, but there's just not nearly enough follow-up at range. Chaotic gets the kill onto Vision of Empire. And so now Akuma has to retreat, but they can't. They're going to be hit by the Impale. Panay finds 2, importantly onto Blush. They peel back even further. 3 finds a kill, and with the Golden Eclipse, mid-cool will find the kill onto Sparty Party. Panay goes farther forward, even more Chaotic, finally finding the kill onto Blush. This Skarner is way too tanky, and there's no ult left for the Mel. Smite drops down, Rocket Stone. Chaotic's going to arrive on the flank. Shutdown picked up by mid-cool as Chaotic tries to push a little bit too far forward, but importantly forego the way of TTM. They're finally going to look towards their Baron, and they will claim it at 33.5 minutes.
And no one can kill Panay, right? It's just the issue with Akuma's comp. You pick Caitlyn, she does okay into tanks. If you give her a minute, maybe, she'll get through him. But this Mel just doesn't exist for long enough. Even in that type of fight, she got through so many rotations of spells. The outcome was exactly the same to other champions. I mean, we saw what happened to Chaotic, right? Instant annihilation. But to the Skarner, it just does nothing. And I mean, Panay is playing so aggressive in these fights because he knows he can get away with it. Next fight will be very interesting. This is a Hextech Soul now for TTM, spawning in 20 seconds. Both mid laners just respawned, and they're going to come on the Rift about the same time. Interesting thing to point out, mid-cool bought a QSS, used it. It's going to be back up again in maybe 20 seconds or so.
He'll be back up in time for a fight unless it breaks out instantly, which is not impossible, especially with the amount of ability that Panay has to just charge forward and not really care. But with Baron up, TTM don't really feel all that interested in the Drake. They can just push down mid. They can try to force Akuma's hands in this fight. trying to find a way around. All the while, Cherry has been left on the Drake. Try to close things out. Sparty Party will be the first to arrive with the Tempered Fate, going to separate the members of TTM. That's all Force comes through, but talk about separation. KTX, the one who finds a kill on the Chief and mid cool. Cherry now in the midst of the entirety of TTM, can't do anything quickly, bursts down by Winter. And so the final defense for the side of Akuma in a 4v2 with the extra push of the Baron will come through. The chunk from 3 from downtown. The amount of range this Senna has, way too much to handle. And will quickly heal right back up anyway. So the eventual push, and it feels inevitable at this point that we are going to the game 3 unless Blush can pull off some absolute magic. Some game 4 magic that the Knicks had last night. It doesn't look like it will be very likely at this point in time. Nexus now open. Blush, this is auto attacks. I mean, they slowly tickle at Pinay, and so the rest of TTM just focus their way onto the Nexus without a care in the world. Game 2 goes the way of TTM Umbriel, and we will have a final match to decide who goes to playoffs through a best of 1 in the most highest stakes you could ever possibly imagine in the regular season.
Yeah, this is as intense as a game 3 is going to get. Imagine this as the final game in any sort of elimination series, but it's also progression as well. This is GGBLG 2024, right? This is win and you're in. Lose this best of 1 now with 20 extra bans, and your season crumbles around you. Everything now comes down to this final game, and TTM have done a good job during that of showing they can compete. After game 1, that was a question mark, right? Akuma, whether it were draft diff, hand diff, whatever you want to call it, it was draft diff, but it was so disgustingly strong from them that it looked near impossible for TTM to get even anything going in this series. To come straight back and just play with such confidence throughout that whole game, they never really felt like they were down, right? They were always there, and they just slowly ground out a victory through what you might call excessive fighting. Was their positioning perfect? No, it doesn't have to be sometimes, right? It just matters that you have the right moments with the right players, and Panay found the right champion as well, which was very useful.
Yeah, I mean, Panay took absolutely no damage. The fact that he's doing 32,500 damage on this Carter while taking none himself is absolutely... it was a sight to behold. We'll see if TTM Umbriel can keep up this form going into Game 3, send themselves to playoffs, or if Akuma can make it themselves. We'll obviously have to see after this break. We'll bring that draft to you just a few short moments for, all the Raiders coming, and we just noticed. Don't go anywhere, because this could not be higher stakes in this Blue Otter Diamond League regular season. We'll see you in a few short moments. And for the final time tonight, TTM will go up against Akuma KTX here in the Blue Otter Diamond League in our final week of the regular season. And it's come down to this final moment. I mean, we couldn't have written it any better, Rue. The winner of this game will secure playoffs, the final seed in the Demacier group. The loser will have their season cut short prematurely, and we go through the bans straight through. Akuma opting to stay on red side for this game 3. Important to note, a new ban this time around from the side of TTM Umbriel, going to be taking taking out the Belveth and then picking up Nocturne first.
Yeah, Nocturne having just received a small little tap as well. It's not, as I say small little, it's like basically inconsequential. His Q does
20 damage at like max, yeah.
Yeah, it's -5 damage per level, but early game the exact same. So through to like level 3, level 4, it's the exact same depending when you want to level up your Q. Some people do Q set 1 and 3, but anyway, not that important. Tiny little nerf Nocturne. Xayah still the same, still very powerful, and Akuma also going to be taking the Sejuani. This is a very interesting pick for them specifically because Vision of Empire, their top laner, really likes to play Sejuani. It could be taken by Cherry as well. But this is one of the rare times where you look at Sejuani and say it's more likely to go top than jungle.
Yeah, in terms of familiarity, Vision of Empire plays as champ. Cherry, I mean, it is Sejuani. It's not exactly the most complicated champ to pick up.
Really good to Nocturne too, to be fair.
And yeah, so there's still the option there. But at least in terms of comfort and you know, playing a champion, we saw it in game 2 with TTM going full comfort, blowing every single pick down the board on that side. And actually, I say that Akuma has got this, but the bans look as if, or at least the fearless bans look as if Akuma might be on blue side. Hold on, let me check.
Akuma definitely red.
Akuma is definitely red side. Yeah, looking at it now,
and
okay, Akuma's definitely
this
red,
is definitely a Jinx Thresh chosen by To The Moon, who are looking to just run through this bot side. Thresh plus hyper carry, a tale as old as time. They haven't been allowed Yunara this whole series. It's been one of the first 3 bans in every single game by Akuma. These bans actually haven't changed by Akuma the whole series. So taking a different hyper carry for a game with such importance makes a lot of sense. Into the Xayah, it's a similar idea in terms of the matchup, but we are, I mean, are we going back to like 2019 or something with this? What's going on here?
Yeah. Yeah, what year is it?
This whole draft. What's going on?
I mean, we would not have seen the Belveth and Yunara bans, but I mean, other than that, When was the Volibear rework? It's been a while now. I don't think Volibear was reworked in 2019. Either way,
Let's see a Roar ban either. But the picked champions out of the champions that are picked, all of these are surprisingly old for a game that has new champions being as good as they typically are on release. And by the way, that looks like a trend that is not going to be stopping soon with what we're seeing for a certain lock. But we're going to move beyond speculation back to firm reality, where it is Mid who is receiving a lot of the punishment here with the second rotation of bans.
Yeah, it does make quite a bit of sense. The two mid laners on both teams don't exactly have the deepest champion pools, at least what they've played throughout the season, so making them as small as possible, trying to put them in a very discomforted position is one in such an important game where comfort can matter a lot more with the just the nerves are so high. Will mean that we, in terms of availability, in terms of champions that these two mid laners play, the likes of the Malzahar for Chaotic is open, and the Twisted Fate also open for the side of mid cool. But outside of that, in terms of availability for these mid laners that we've seen them play relatively regularly, there's nothing left.
Yeah, we are now in the dregs of the champ pool, right? This is almost like a game 5 draft with just how many have been taken away, but Hui is still there and got a massive buff a couple of days ago. It's only Wednesday. It's Friday for me. Don't worry about it. Recently,
it's Thursday. Actually,
massive. But no, when the patch was Wednesday is what I mean. But yesterday for you doesn't matter. Not the point. Hui is just better. Like flat out more damage, and your E is off cooldown more. It's just a better champion, and as such, the fake out there by Akuma is going to remind to the moon that it's very much so available. You're taking Cassante alongside, which now makes the counter pick options somewhat limited as well, because I mean, it's Cassante.
Yeah, I mean, Cassante does everything. I mean, obviously Garen is a classic counter pick, one that is relatively easy to pick up, even if Vision of Empire doesn't necessarily play it all too much. But they've saved this counter pick that they've been looking for. Pantheon.
It's double flex.
Is going to be the option from Akuma KTX. As you mentioned, it is a double flex for Akuma. As Vision of Empire does play the Sejuani. I could definitely see the Sejuani going into the top lane with the Pantheon going jungle. Stylistically, Pantheon definitely feels much more like a Cherry champion with just how aggressively she plays in general. So I would assume that to be the case, and with these double semi-globals with the Twisted Fate and the Pantheon, we're going to be looking to the side of Akuma to be able to just show up before TTM can do anything.
Yeah, and if that is going to be the mid-jungle duo, then absolutely. I do slightly worry for that being the mid-jungle duo, though, especially with Sejuani being a champion that you can have a lot of impact before Nocturne really gets into the game when they're playing in the jungle, and the fact that Sejuani sucks to Cassante. Like, tanks just don't do much into Cassante. I mean, Sion does, but Sion. Pantheon is one of those champions that actually just can kill Cassante early enough to put it behind. You go Eclipse with Flashing Knight in top lane, and suddenly Cassante is nothing but a bug. You can be squished underfoot. And not many champions that can really just have that level of power in any phase of the game against Cassante. Pantheon being able to do it early could potentially mean that they move things around, still have a lot of power, and the double global's going to come into things somewhat, but it's a little bit less impactful to have double globals when you need both your solo laners to be there, right? If it's the jungler and the mid laner, then suddenly you could be looking top, you could be looking bot, you can make 4-on-2s happen, 3-on-1s potentially in top side. When it's both solo laners, it's a huge committal of resources to send both of them to make the same play, and if it's a Drake, they're probably going to be there anywhere.
Yeah, that, and also it's not a truly global ultimate from the Pantheon.
Also fair.
And especially at level 6.
Technically.
Neither is Twisted Fate, but that one's going mid lane, and when you're mid lane, you could just about anyway. The point that I was going to make is that as a side laner on the Pantheon, it does kind of limit the use of the Grand Star Vault really to only to that half of the map that you are on to like truly move around like that and use it. So it is a little bit less flexible on that front as well. So it'd be interesting to see how Akuma play this out or how they shift around the Pantheon and the Sejuani. I feel like hopefully at some point Loki can update us on that front because we move over and looked at the composition of the side of TTM, and it is one that it is very orthodox, Rue, and for good reason.
Yeah. I mean, I'm just fascinated to see how these guys are able to play it out, though. Right? We can speculate all we can want, but at the end of the day, it comes down to execution as well, right? This is not the top tier of play. You do get draft diffs. We saw one in game one, but it feels like neither side has a massive advantage. So, yeah, we are in a very interesting position in this game where it's uh, neither side has a massive advantage coming out of this draft, and yet still the stakes could not be higher. It is you
Oh
must
no.
win, otherwise you're gone. And I
Yeah.
mean that is the perfect scenario to have a game such as this, where we can't just tell instantly.
And so, yeah, with that, whoever comes out the victor of this matchup will be in playoffs. We'll see them next week in the seeding phase. Whoever loses will have their season cut short, which is what we're looking out for as we go into the spectator day. We're having slight technical issues with the clients, classic league clients, so it might be a little bit longer than we would hope. But we hope you stick around with us for that because you could not have had a bigger matchup in the regular season, a bigger game, which will be coming to you after said spectator delay. So we'll see you then. And we are back for the final time tonight for TTM, Umbriel, and Akuma KTX. And the same thing will be said for one of these two teams' seasons. Whoever loses will have to say goodbye to the league, and whoever does win will claim the final spots for the playoffs, the 4th seed out of the Demacia group here. So, I mean, we've said it a million times tonight, but it really does ring true that the stakes could not possibly be higher out of any regular season game, basically ever.
This is as good as it gets for a regular season, right? This is quite literally win or go home. Effectively at this point, best of one, win this, and you'll get through to playoffs. At which point, maybe you can say you got a little bit of breathing room. It's still not a lot of breathing room because you don't get that first round bye. It is single elimination for the top 12 teams that make it through, with the top 4 seeds getting their first round bye. But, you know, you got to do the best that you can at this point, right? As a seed that's not going to be towards the top, you got to win 4 games in a row when the playoffs happen. But to get there, you have to make it effectively 5 in a row, including this best of 3 turned into a best of 1. Interesting to point out, it was Sejuani that's put top lane. Vision, we suspected this would be the case, likes playing Sejuani. Cherry as well, likes the aggressive champions. Pantheon definitely fits that mold. I wouldn't have minded if they changed things around because the Cassante matchup. I don't think it's great for Sejuani, but I mean, Vision, if there's a weird matchup in top lane, probably used to it. As the Sejuani, probably a lot more than maybe Winter as well, so there could definitely be angles with the Ignite TP that he has brought to the lane, and then Cherry on Pantheon with the global of mid cool as well is going to be very interesting to watch how they're able to impact not just mid, but also these side lanes. That's a grand entrance.
Yeah, and on top of the Blade Caller finding the snare onto Sparty Party, but the counter from the side of TTM will be quite big. 3 getting forward will have to burn the heal of Sparty Party. The Ghost was popped as well from 3. So, in the end, Akuma coming out on top in the bot lane.
Yeah, that's twice so far today as well. We've seen the ADC pick a Ghost instead of a barrier. It's a decision, I guess. You can go with whichever, but it does make trades like that a little bit more impactful as you get enough death senses. Nocturne's turning up.
On to Chief. Grand Entrance will find the knockup only onto Sparty Party. As you mentioned, Panay arriving, but pre-level 6 Nocturne not going to have the biggest influence in these games, especially with how low 3 is.
Yeah, late on W as well. If he gets his spell shield a tad faster ready, then it's a very different conversation. As Midcool looking for the roam, I believe he's managed to get down here off Vision, but he's going to delay his base quite a lot. As such, he's also going to lose that wave that's pushed in there by Chaotic, trying to make that play happen, as Vision's also trying to make something work. One more auto. We've got Permafrost with a very low Cassante, who's also out of mana entirely. Things happening across the map, potential plays, but nothing as of yet that's going to break the game even close to being wide open. It's just, picking away. And honestly, at this point, seeing whose nerves are going to break down first.
Yeah, and speaking of Vision in the top lane, we already kind of touched them earlier in the fact that they picked up the Sejuani. Also went for the flashless route on that champion, so will not be able to find some very creative engages, or at least as creative with the flashes as Snappy. So they will, as you mentioned, have that extra kill pressure with the Ignite, and hopefully try to push out Winter even more so.
Yeah, he's actually managed to build up a little bit of an XP advantage, which is rare to get into a tank top lane. Tank versus tank as well, but Sejuani is just one of those. A lot of junglers have some very high base stats, especially the ganking ones, because they're expected to maybe be less gold, maybe be less levels, and yet still they can have that impact overall in the game. Scaling not as important. It looks like the Fimbulwinter going to be the choice here as well. So just being there as the tank, as the engage, but early on has some pressure. Hasn't been able to find much. Comet, I've just seen, by the way, a crazy shot.
Yeah.
What is a Sejuani doing with Comet?
I
can't
guess
be real.
in lane you throw out a Q every now and then, and you tap Winter to get the extra poke. That still doesn't feel nearly as useful, but
other choice. He accidentally left on his Malphite runes.
That is possible. That is entirely possible. That's probably more likely.
Which do we think is more likely?
That's probably more likely, but we'll say it's actually the strat and hold on. Panay has right in the bot lane, but 3 not enough to survive.
He warded
goes
the
away
lantern. He warded the lantern so that 3 couldn't take him back to safety.
Oh.
That was so sick.
Oh yeah, that's absolutely true. I mean, that is the thing that you can do, and so really good awareness from Chief to be able to do that, and Party just outplayed by Ward, and so the advantage goes way of Akuma and their bot lane, which you would perhaps prefer to see it go onto Blush. It is exactly the way that you would want Akuma to start out aggressively, especially going into the mid game. I'd feel that later on their damage might start to fall off quite a bit with the Twisted Fate and the Pantheon.
Yeah, I mean, first blood is first blood at the end of the day, right? Even if it doesn't go on the target you want it to, it's still a death of the Jink, there's still a push out through bot, it's still a Drake as well. So it's not just the kill going over, it's also the objective very early on going over to Akuma. This is 5-6 minutes before we saw a Drake taken in game 1. There's a whole Drake rotation faster, and that's massive, especially when you're looking for a win condition a little bit earlier on in the game. Like it might
Paranoia
be
going to be dropped to try to find its way onto Cherry, going to have to flash away from Panay. No flash on the Pantheon. Bit big. That looks like Grand Entrance finds its way onto 2, 3. Going to run away as quickly as possible, using the heal, using the Ghost as well. No flashes, but 2 summoner spells out of the bot lane of TTM.
Yeah, it feels like it's they're able to get them maybe a little bit easier than they're able to give up their own right now. Blush and Chief holding on to theirs, like their life depends on it, and they're still putting out insane damage with these trades. Caught on the wrong side with the Jinx traps though, it makes this position quite awkward.
Yeah,
and double ward. Also awkward.
That is awkward. You hate to see it. Panay though, Chef Brush will spot out Cherry, will drop the fear immediately. Cherry, just walking in a straight line, will finally realize that they are being targeted now. Does lose quite a bit of health in the process. Grand Entrance finds its way onto 3 once again. This bot lane of Akuma continuing their dominance here.
I'm surprised this has been more of an issue throughout the series. When you said onto 3, I'm like, that's one guy. How has it not been more of an issue throughout the series? Level 6s.
Yeah, Destiny Gate pops down into the bot lane, autoing away, double kill with the ults used by Blush to ensure that they will not be hit down by that ranking up tower. Won't take any sort of damage. Severing Bolt, I mean, really had no chance. Would have potentially had a chance to be able to kill there had that tower shot gone through, but Blush plays it safe, gets a double kill in the process as well.
Yeah, I feel like it's on the very safe side of being quite safe, but it's fine. You expect to burn your ultimates when you take a level 6 fight versus a level 5 fight anyway. So having it gone isn't gonna be drastically different from what this play could look like otherwise. And also, of course, still has the double kill, gets back to lane with plenty of time spare to push out this wave, and still level 5's not been reached by level 6 has not been reached.
Drops. Cherry going to be snared up by the Flame Chompers. It's a valiant attempt to try to find a gank into the bot lane, but it does get flashes out of both 3 and Party.
Yeah, and it's still level 6 versus level 5, right? Even without the Xayah ultimate, it's still a massive advantage because there's nothing to retaliate with. Now double flash used, as you say, it's just stacking these advantages through bot lane. Akuma showed they were able to do that very well in game 1 in a bit more of an isolated matchup where jungler wasn't as involved. This time, Pantheon getting down and dirty with it, hasn't been there for the kills, but it turns up to get double sums, and now when they tick up to level 6, there's a little bit less threat because, okay, maybe they have Box and a Mega Death Rocket, but you've already hit level 7. You already feel safe, and you still have double sums as the Xayah with the ability to go flying back into the air, not too far away as well.
Yeah, and the amount of pressure that Akuma can generate in the bot lane, absolutely immense. It does mean that they're both in the bot lane, top side a little bit more even with how much mid cool and Cherry has spent towards bottom half the map. TTM generally stronger at this point of the game in the top half of the map, so it looks like the Grub's going to go their way relatively comfortably, but Feather Storm going to be used, and the Blade Caller gets 3 down to half HP. And denied the tower shots coming through. It was a very valiant effort from Sparty Party in the bot lane to try to find a turnaround, but only get the ult from Blush and Chief.
Yeah, I'm surprised that Chief even ulted there. I feel like it was a bit more like as a passive thing, but it's difficult for them to go to you in that situation that they don't have gap close, right? The Thresh can hit another death sentence, but since he'd already used it once, it's not going to be off cooldown just yet, so that wasn't as much of an issue as it maybe could be. We're going to play 3-3-3 instead.
Through into the bot lane, the flash away immediately from the Xayah comes down, but that buys the space that Blush needs to survive. The follow-up from Chaotic has arrived, gets the CC onto Blush, but it's a really good body block from Cherry to prevent the Spiraling Despair finding its way onto the Xayah. So no kills go either way, but Flash is down on Blush and Midcool.
Big exchange overall. So the Moon end up probably with what you'd say is the upper hand in that exchange in terms of getting those summoners, but 3 is doing his best to make sure that isn't the case, tanking TFQ to the face. He's forced now to back out with his support alongside as well. Does mean Drake is somewhat up in the air now, right? Neither team feels comfortable enough to contest it. Blush walking out towards mid is going to be able to catch that wave eventually, but a really good push out timer found by Chaotic. Midcool still there, guaranteeing this bot prio for a little bit longer, but it feels like Akuma don't quite feel ready to pull the trigger on this Drake, trying to get a little more vision courtesy of Chief first.
Boy, so right as you say that, Cherry does look like... Has Cherry started? I mean, surely, right? I don't think there's just...
Yeah, there's no crowd anymore. They killed the crowd the first time.
Yeah.
It just took some time.
So, of course, as you say that, Cherry starts up the Drake. And with Panay on the top half of the map, that does mean second Drake of the game does go the way of Akuma. It's not immediately on spawn timer, but still a relatively decent pace to be stacking up these Drakes.
Yeah, on track for kind of a 23-24 minute soul if things carry on as they are right now for Akuma. And, you know, if that is the case, probably not enough time for this Jinx to really scale into the game, right? You think about a Jinx, 3 out really where she comes online. This is a
Paranoia will drop from Panay, will get the fear into the mid lane. Spiraling Despair hits the mark to secure the kill, but wouldn't move over to the bot lane because it's immediately traded back into 2v2. Blush will go on a killing spree.
Yeah, and Midcool also got that one back onto Panay. He waited out the spell shield just long enough, threw the gold card as he was about to die, and got the Nocturne to stick around under the turret against his will. No tenacity on the Nocturne, ended up just having to stand there while he was slowly taking turret shots. And as well as that kill on bot side, means it's another positive play for Akuma. They go 1 for 1 in a very nice gank attempt, double ultimate used into mid, where Akuma didn't have anything to use themselves, and they're still able to trade even, and they also get the kill down in bot. TTM need to find a positive place somewhere soon.
Blush also going to be walking back with the Essence Reaver. Meanwhile, 3 only has 2 components. It's, I mean, we already know that it's been a huge advantage to the bot lane of Akuma, at least under current affairs, but, and it's more of just a highlight of how things have gone. Midcool also going to be scaling up with the Rod of Ages to try to stay a little bit more relevant later into the game. But take a look at Vision of Empire's items.
He went Rylai's.
Yeah.
I was noticing that at the same time. I saw him going Amptome earlier, and I was interested to see what he was doing because he went Giant's Belt first of all, which makes sense, especially with the tier. Both those build in towards the Fimbulwinter. Or I guess Winter's Approach, first of all. But then he's gone away from it into a Rylai's. I mean, he knows this champion, so I'm gonna say let him cook on this one. But I'm also fascinated to see how this develops. Also fascinated to see how Chaotic is able to keep exploiting his clear advantage through mid, because throughout this series it feels like he's just been confident and he's been able to get himself really good advantages through the early game, up at about 160 CS, 315. He's absolutely dominating this TF right now. I wouldn't be surprised if he's even up in gold against TF Massive, because the CS is just huge.
Yeah, he is by about 400. So, I mean, a pretty not insignificant amount at that. Midcool has definitely spent a lot of time out of lane, but I think especially with how the first 2 games have gone, we can feel pretty comfortably say Chaotic, certainly performing better than Midcool at least today, but it won't quite matter.
He isn't
now.
doing this, though.
Swiftness is used, and with the gank to the bottom lane,
Okay.
not quite enough to find the kill.
Hold on.
Super Mega Death Rocket does hit the mark. Shutdown goes the way onto Chief, and Midcool had gone too far, so the counter punch from TTM has arrived. Blush still alive, finds the counter onto the Thresh. Featherstorm used to secure the double kill onto 3, but Panay now on the gank does too much. Chaotic will be the one to claim it. And so try as Blush might to turn that play around, it's not nearly enough. Panay going to pick up the shutdown.
Yeah, it's a really interesting attempt there from Akuma. I like it in theory at a different time, right? The different time being when Paranoia isn't available or when Chaotic doesn't have TP. If both of them have those abilities, you cannot make that play. You can counter the play because Chaotic is still too far forward.
In the bot lane, using a TP of his own to find eventually the kill onto Chaotic, going to drop the vision, and there it goes. Finally, Midcool going to secure the kill and even things back up slightly.
So you can counterpunch like that very effectively with your own TP, but when it's 4v4, you don't win right now.
Chief going to find the grand entrance on to Sparty Party. No flash on the Thresh. He already used from Blush, so can't quite find another snare onto Sparty Party, but it's definitely looking dangerous with how many of those feathers were starting to build up.
Yeah, I was expecting maybe a couple more pullbacks because he's already got a second item. The very Flick Blades drastically reduce the cooldowns at this phase, right? Every single auto attack makes those cooldowns that much cheaper. You're starting to get to that phase where it's very dangerous indeed, as this is a very odd Paranoia.
Yeah, I'm going to assume was maybe tried to find onto Midcool, considering the positioning.
Or just pulled the light switch.
Well, luckily he is level 11 when he casted that, so it's not the longest cooldown ever.
He doesn't have for the Drake though. The Drake's just spawn.
Definitely, that is absolutely true, and a very massive time to not have it, and that does open up, especially it being the sole point Drake to Akuma.
Wow.
Yeah, they're just going to give it.
Yeah, I mean it's a Chemtech, so it's not the most impactful of souls. Especially, you bear in mind the champions as well. We're not talking about champions from Akuma that thrive at low HPs, right? That Chemtech Soul really favors champions that are good when they're low. Like things like Mundo love Chemtech Soul. Sejuani could be argued. Like tanks don't do badly when they're low, but it's not the most important. Getting the cross map is nice as well from TTM. Good decisive maneuver after they've realized no longer possible. Instantly made that decision. Okay, we're gonna get the Rift Herald at the very least. We're gonna do something elsewhere. But they also need to respond to this bot wave because it is huge and it's crashing, and Midcool is still there pushing it in.
Yeah, and eventually Chaotic will arrive, but the all-out will be used, and of course, right as it's used, we get the view away. The ult used from Winter. It was looking a little bit more climactic than what it turned out to be, but yeah.
Yeah, Midcool flashing as well, by the way, to get rid of the to get that out of the way of the Spiraling Despair. So positive play there from Chaotic, getting that key summoner out of the Twisted Fate, who has already reached the 2-item spike. Looking across the board right now, some very large item spike already coming in from Akuma in this one, matched by Chaotic, who's doing a really good job with his own economy, as you'd expect from a guy with like 11 CS per minute and 3 kills. He's doing pretty good in terms of cash, but the one out of the 4 of mid and bot who's not there right now is 3, and we'll pretend that was intentional. He's just not there in terms of items, right? Only an item and a half. Everyone else hitting you kind of 2.5 items. He needs to find a way to get some more gold into his bank account, because right now he's not able to keep up in terms of damage, in terms of utility, in terms of team fight playing either. If he gets a couple of resets, sure, but if a couple of resets are given over, then Akuma deserves to lose the fight.
Yeah, with a 0-4 Jinx, really shouldn't be allowed anywhere near these fights if and when they do break out. But I mean, as things stands, Akuma up 1k gold. They have been for quite a while now. At one point, it definitely seemed like it would be the springboard that they could use to get themselves a decisive advantage, but it's slowly stalled out. Even though this Jinx is quite far away, I think Chaotic should be expected to do quite a bit more damage than mid-cool, and eventually 3 will come online. Yeah, Hook getting very close. Very dangerous. But not quite going to land the mark. Baron is up and available, though this early on, outside of an odd fight coming out of nowhere, it shouldn't be going either way. So our eyes will be on the... Okay, hold up. Paranoia is used to try to turn this fight around, but the collapse comes down onto Chaotic. Blush very quickly finds first kill. Teleports now arriving from where to try to find the back line. Pathmaker going to be used.
What is that angle?
Chief away, but the grand entrance used as an escape for Chief will mean that he's okay. Mid-cool going to pick a card. It's going to be the gold one, not quite in range to find a way onto either Sparty Party or Panay. But all the while in the mid lane, 3 is left alone to be able to take a tower for himself, and is continuing to do so. But now we're going to shift our attention back to the bot lane, because this tower is also not on for its word. Tier 2 bot goes the way of Akuma, and now Winter with no help from the tower will simply be taken down. And now Vision into the mid lane. 3 might have also stayed too long himself, because the Glacial Prison hits the mark. But the flash over the wall does mean 3 will be able to get away with the help of the excited reset. Vision of Empire reads the direction that 3 takes well. And he closed down, slowly charging at 3. Does not get slowed by the zap. Hop forward.
He's very dead.
It's over. Yeah,
he's very dead.
You know,
when you suddenly see the Pantheon out the corner, you're like,
yeah,
oh, right.
Like, oh, well,
he does not have a chance. Vision going to technically claim the solo kill there. As the reason he was able to read the Vision, by the way, so well, was because he had the Ignite, giving the Vision the whole way through. It made it a lot easier. When he sees him go blast coding over, he knows where he's going. He knows all he has to do is just keep on following, and he does precisely that. It was a nice play for 3 before that point, as you're pointing out. You know, getting some gold finally into this Jinx, but it comes at such a heavy cost, right? Now it's gone from a 1k gold lead into a 3k gold lead. Mid tier 1 for bot tier 2. And also a couple of kills going over as well. This Xayah is getting so strong. The Jinx just hit their 2-item spike. We're approaching a soul fight. I mean, Blush is about to hit their 3rd. It's a really awkward time for this soul fight, to be fair, for Akuma. This is about the best chance that To The Moon could have possibly hoped for. If they want to make a Hail Mary at this soul to deny it, this is about the best chance they're going to have, because it's still 2 items versus 2 items. If this was a minute later and Blush had his 3rd, suddenly that power disparity is so much more felt, so much more visceral, that you can't contest, and they still don't feel like they can contest. How crazy is that?
Yeah, and so they move towards the Baron to try to maybe force a response out of Akuma. All it gets is a teleport from Vision of Empire. And so, I mean, it will be fair. It is uncontested for practically nothing.
Oh, hello.
In the end. Oh, hello. Hi, Panay. I mean, okay, he's keeping his driver's license at the very least, and will claim that top lane tier 1. And,
Did not expect to see the Nocturne riding Shelly there. As he turns up, drifts around the corner, does indeed crash into the turret. But you know, all he's going to get from the Rift Herald there is the top tier 1. It's a turret, all the same. You need to get that standing gold gone as much as possible. Getting the gold into the Nocturne's pocket doesn't feel bad either. At 2 items, looking to build towards 3rd, either use something like a Death Stance or a Guardian Angel, depending on how late you feel like you're going to pick it up. You're approaching that kind of phase of the game. You need to be getting these more defensive items. Interesting time right now. It feels like Akuma have themselves a very clear advantage, but it's still not the easiest to convert, as they're forced into these kind of awkward plays.
Will be used preemptively from Blush. The Glacial Prison hits the back marker, but it's a good fear to try to slow the advance of Akuma, but it's not nearly enough. Double kill goes the way of Blush, but the health bars are blinking on the side of Akuma. The teleport comes through from Winter's shutdown, picked up onto the Sejuani. The rest of Akuma have to hightail it on out of there with how low they've gotten. But they do get 2 kills in the process.
Yeah, and also the kill goes over to the Cassandre, who just got his 2nd item, that 3rd spike, quite a ways away from really impacting the Rift. So doesn't quite feel as bad as if the Jinx, for example, got back into the game with their 1st kill being a big shutdown on enemy top lane. Still a positive play for Akuma, able to put yet more pressure on. They're going to be targeting this Baron, I'd reckon, pretty damn soon, if they're going to be looking at it before the Elder, right? If you don't think you can take it before Elder, then we're kind of approaching that point where it's kind of now or never. for the Baron. I think on the balance of things, probably safer if you just ignore as much as possible. We saw the attempt by To The Moon to threaten, but it wasn't a proper threat around the previous Drake fight. It would probably be more of a threat next time round, but is it enough to force Akuma away, or are they just going to try and get it off the Rift in time?
We're definitely sitting around the Baron to try to bait a move from To The Moon. They definitely
Yoink.
have a lot of abilities to be able to catch out a few straggling members with the 2 semi-globals, with the Grand Starfall and the Destiny of Twisted Fates. To do so, Sparty Party going to hit another hook, goes in, stun finds its way onto 3, takes him down to half HP from just one rotation of spells from
Oh my
Lush.
God.
Grand Starfall drops a little bit too far to find the kill onto 3, but Sparty Party left completely isolated, and the swiftness, Grand Entrance comes through, finds charms onto multiple members, not quite enough follow-up from the side of Akuma initially, but they finally collapse. They finally get the kills they need. 3 is going to get excited though on the kill onto Cherry. And so without a jungler, it's important that the kill onto Cherry
Chief.
did eventually land. So with no smite, the very least, Baron can't quite be picked up by the side of Akuma just yet.
You say that? They almost could still. There's no Jinx Rocket. There's no Cassante. The Nocturne's not going to have his ultimate when he respawns either, and you have Xayah. Right? Xayah's one of the best ADCs at securing a Baron, especially at this phase of the game. It's a risky call if they go for it, but I wouldn't be all too shocked if they went for it. It turns out, they choose the path of least risk, and I can definitely understand that when you're this far ahead in the game, in a game that matters as much as this, mitigating risk, very, very important. But there was a world, I think, maybe in a more desperate game state, where Akuma just go for it after that type of a fight with the Xayah still up, but instead, just going to choose to turn away, as we're probably going to turn away in terms of our vision now, placing down, got to be turning away from the top side. The focus now has to be around setting up for this Elder. I'm surprised even that Chief put those wards in the top side for Winter to clear. I feel like this current rotation on this current base should have been looking towards bot side.
Finds way on to Chief. Have access to the battle dance, so we'll just quickly get away, especially when you have Blush nearby, getting that extra range on it towards Xayah. Definitely feels really good for safety on the Rakan.
Yoink.
But yeah, going to steal away the large chicken. Feels nice, tasty, delicious. I like chicken.
Who doesn't?
Yeah. Probably my favorite bird. Very. Anyway, moving on.
American, that's a crazy statement. We're not going Turkey?
I mean, honestly, I'm going to be so real. The one time a year that we have it is pretty okay. Before we get to that, Death Bush coming up, Sparty Party going to lead the charge, bursted down immediately. Cherry the one to claim it. Grand entrance with the slip, so finds its way onto 2. A little bit out of range for the rest of Akuma to follow up on, but no support to the side of TTM comes through. But they've already used all the ultimates on the side of Akuma, so 4v5, but no ultimates. Winter going to be snared up. These health bars are low.
Good.
Grand Starball going to come through.
It's so
trying to find the escape, but towards the mid lane, Blush finds the first kill onto Jinx. Double kill to the Xayah. Winter, the only one left standing alongside Panay, who's on the wrong side of the map. It's a clean ace to Akuma. They've got to push in the mid lane. They're going to try to find the end. These respawn timers are really long. Sparty Party's the only one back up in 4 seconds, but they've got more than enough damage to be able to come through. Sparty Party now back up. Can this Thresh do anything on his own? Do Akuma try to force an end here? 3 back up in 10 seconds. They're on the inhibitor. They take the mid inhibitor. They peel away. They won't quite try to end the game here, but Panay's back up in 15 seconds. So the Elder Drake comfortably in the hands of Akuma.
They should be looking at double buffs it, right? Elder first, into Baron, then go back around for round 2. I think in this situation, it's the safer of the 2 options, but we're approaching that phase of the game where suddenly mitigating the risk somehow becomes more of a risk, right? Not going for those type of end angles where I think they probably win, like maybe 80% of the time. you're starting to get into the phase of the game where 3 is going to come online pretty damn soon, right? 3 items of Jinx still late.
But it's, okay.
He's still behind the curve, but soon it won't matter, right? He can fight at 4 items versus 5 very comfortably.
Unless we're standing this far up. Flash forward, gold card will find the stun. The Elder Drake burn comes through. The Lantern will get him away just barely. Luckily, Sparty Party was there because that could have been really bad. Like moths to a light. 3 ADCs to mid lanes.
Very nearly caught out in the ruler spot. That was close. As you'll see the Destiny pop there by mid-cool just to get vision over this Baron, make sure there is no steal attempt, as steal attempt could have been very interesting, seeing as Chief is the one that ended up picking up said Baron.
Used paranoia, so...
Yeah, I mean, it was going to be near impossible. Making sure there's no one on a crazy flank, right? When you look at the minimap, make sure...
Oh, sorry, going out to flash
backside. Yeah, I mean, double buffs. How do you face this? Still got a minute on this Elder.
I mean, the wave clear from the side of TTM, I mean, it's there, but not exactly the greatest either, as mentioned, into the double big game-ending buffs. The options for TTM are slim and none. They have gotten all 5 members back up and ready to go, but for now, they'll just concede their top side inhibitor with the waves pushing in from the side of Akuma. 2 siege minions available to them as well. But not quite a full commit from the side of Akuma just yet. They want to build up all the possible advantages they can find. Mid-cool
3
has
cannons.
card ready to go. Finds this one onto Panay.
Oh my god.
The Glacial Prison finds its way onto 3 as well. Good angle from Vision of Empire to find the start of the fight and ensure that any hope that TTM has to be able to come back with their late game scaling on the Jeeks is dashed instantly as Akuma KTX Azure Dragon high-speed bullet train will lock the 4th seed for playouts out of the Demacia group.
What a game.
That's their full official name, by the way.
That is their full official name. He's not messing about. They chose that name, but
yeah,
you know, with a name as such, great expectations were laid upon this team. Difficult to say they've matched up to them so far. Has to be said, this is the team that a lot of players around the league were looking at and saying top 1, top 2 seeds out of their group, looking to make kind of semi-finals as what we'd expect from them. So far, has been a touch underwhelming. Definitely not a complete performance today. Some areas for improvement certainly. It feels like mostly on the side lanes somewhat. They've been somehow in the games that they won, they were getting consistently outfarmed. Game 2, it didn't feel quite as bad, but it ended up being the game they ended up losing. Game 1, Game 3, especially mid-cool, who is one of the premier mid laners in this division.
Yeah.
Somewhat outplayed in some regards by Chaotic. He spent a lot of his time, instead of being focused on the lane, focusing instead on helping out the other parts of the map. It was still very effective, but when you play against teams that are maybe a slightly higher caliber than To The Moon, you end up in situations where you would like to have that impact elsewhere, but you also need to be strong yourself. Today, it was enough to get Blush strong in 2 out of those 3 games. In other days, in other games, in other series, playing these Roman champions and getting someone else strong might not be enough. You might have to get there too, and that's maybe an area for improvement for Akuma as they move forward, but they get to move forward.
Yeah, and to be fair, Akuma does have a history of being able to scale up as an org. Obviously, last year in Blue Water Diamond League, not last year, last season in Blue Water Diamond League, which I actually believe, no, that would have been this, was that last year, technically? Anyway, point is, last season in Blue Water Diamond League, the Akuma Strikers team, even though they were that first seed, they literally 2-1 every single series, other than their loss, which they 0-2'd, and they weren't the prettiest ever. But as soon as playoffs rolled around, as soon as they hit the semifinals, they looked like a completely different team and swept out from there. And even in the past as well, I think the Akuma Sabres team a while ago also kind of had a similar time where they started a little bit slow, but coming into playoffs, they absolutely ramped up and were completely unstoppable. In that first championship that Saber's team had a bit. And so Akuma definitely has a thing, and I will say, there's this thing between me and Coffee, the Akuma org owner, that 3 of the last 4 Blue Water Diamond League seasons have gone the way of an Akuma team. I was casting 3 of those 4 Diamond League seasons. The one that they didn't get, I could not do because of timing things, and so I'm here now. We have this running joke between us.
I did that one.
You did what one? What?
I did a Blue Water Diamond League. I did that one.
Oh.
They didn't win that one. we got unstoppable force.
Oh wait, okay. Well, that's a perfect thing to set up for.
We got unstoppable force in the move object here, my guy.
Yeah. Oh right. Well, I mean that'll be an interesting to see how it plays out going into playoffs. Whether how that plays out between the two of us, I did not even realize that much. That's hilarious. Well, we'll see that. Going into playoffs, whether or not the Isaac cast's Akuma buff is strong enough to outweigh the Rue Akuma nerf. But until then, that'll be it from us here on Blue Otter League. Congratulations to Akuma KTX as your dragon high-speed bullet train on securing playoffs in the do or die situation in the circumstance that I've given to us. Commiserations to the moon Umbriel, and well, fair play to them for keeping it as close as long as possible for that final playoff spot. Unfortunately, that'll be it for their seasons, and that'll be it from us tonight here on Blue Otter League. I've been Isaac. Alongside me has been Rue. Running things behind the scenes has been Loki. And so from us, we wish you a pleasant good night.